Hello, my Teaserking family. Welcome back again. I don't understand these internet issues. But I apologize. All I can do is end it. And I was just frozen on the screen, so I'm assuming it's frozen for you. Look at it. I'm like, what the fuck is that? So again, silver 76.23, back up $5. It'll get back to 80 soon, and then 43.66 gold here. Should be 4,500. Should be 45,000. So as we were talking, the mafia or the crooks running the banks, and the banks run the government. So it amazes me when people don't understand the banks run the government. Whatever J.P. Morgan wants, they do. And it's like Madoff. Madoff, everybody knew what Madoff was doing in the SEC, J.P. Morgan, the Russian mafia, and they let him do it. That's why Madoff said I was in it alone, because the Russian mafia would have killed his family, which ended up dying anyway. The SEC was in on it, and JP Morgan was. So at the end, he says, I'm going to turn myself in. He calls JP Morgan, and he talks to the guy, and he says, you better sell your position now. I'm going to turn myself in. And it was like a few days before, and they did. They sold their position, got their money out, and then he went to the FBI. And it's the same thing, though. The guy, you keep seeing the guy at the SEC telling them 30 things about why it's a Ponzi scheme. Well, they were in on it, idiot. And you got to be careful. So the SEC was in on the Madoff scam, probably making a lot of money from it, keeping quiet. And so they never found anything. Oh, no, he's fine. And the guy from Europe with all the European clients, he was in on it. He was getting kickbacks. It just shows you how stupid some of these people are. Think outside the box. Hey, maybe the SEC's in on it. Maybe I shouldn't go to the SEC. Maybe I need to go, maybe I just need to shut up and do what I'm doing, right? I don't go to the SEC and say, hey, gold's fixed, comex is fixed, or whoever else. I just tell you, hey, gold and silver are fixed on comex. That's all I can do. There's nobody to tell. It's not, I'm going to get somebody in trouble, or the SEC is going to do something, or this or that. Like Mark McGuire, the whistleblower. Oh, we're Mark McGuire. He wasn't on last week, and I doubt he'll be on this week because it's the Christmas holidays. Hard to believe he's not on for a couple of weeks. He's only once a week, and he's always slow. He does it on Wednesday, and he shows it on Friday. I'm live. I don't get that, because there's things that happen on Thursday and Friday he needs to talk about that he never talks about. And anyway, so that's what you got to realize is it's fixed, but everybody knows it's fixed. Everybody knew Madoff was a Ponzi scheme. It wasn't a surprise. If I said I made 100% on football, I don't know how anybody could say that, and then how anybody could believe me. You just can't do it. I can do it once in a while. I can go 10-0 on a week. All right, I've done that 2-3 times a year, but most of the weeks are 10-2, 8-3, maybe a 7-4 week. Some 10-1s or 9-1s, but never just 100%. I got hot a few years ago when Cam Newton was on Carolina, and I went 35-5, and I was red hot, and it was all actual. There was no scam. They can't scam it. But in But in Madoff's realm, I always pick it. And why should I not be in Madoff? He never loses. I don't know who's stupider, the people making that comment, the guy never loses, or the fact that the guy's trying to go to the SEC and cry about it. But that's the point. So what you have is J.P. Morgan running the country. They run the politicians. They pay them off. Here's $1 million. Vote for what I want. And that's what's happening. The only problem is, since they don't know what they're doing, they're destroying the country because they're destroying the dollar. Now, maybe they understand that and they're buying a lot of silver, but I think it's to pay off shorts that they've accumulated, not because they're smart about silver. Because if they were, they'd have been buying it at when it was $20 an ounce, if you knew about it. So a lot of the banks are extremely corrupt. A lot of the politicians are extremely corrupt. These are the morons running the country. Either we sit there like idiots going, oh, I trust the government, or we do what we're doing, saying we don't trust anybody. We're going to trust ourselves, and we're going to go buy physical. Then you get this comex bullshit. What that did the other day was show they don't have any silver. There's no silver in comex. It's gone. And so they tried shorting it to get out of their short positions, because only idiots are shorting now. And if the demand's high, why would you short it thinking the price will come down when the demand's through the roof, the physical demand. So the physical is what's killing comex. It's gone. There's some price you see, $70, $80. It doesn't mean anything. Why the dealers? I always was wondering why the dealers actually sold it at that price. And like I said, when the kid at the Toyota dealership said, well, what's the highest price of physical silver? And I says, there's never been one. Maybe the Romans, that's it. They never priced physical gold and silver in a physical market. It was always, well, not always comex. I don't know what it was when the France and the British had it in the 1900s, if they ever kept the price. But in the U.S., and again, I can't speak for the 1800s. I know you had $20 an ounce in 1932, which was a lot of money back then, right? It's not like $20 now, which is worth nothing. $20 back then was worth a lot. So hard to say, but it's, now you can see it in 4,500 gold and going to 100 silver. I mean, now you can see. Again, though, again, we're pricing it in dollars, and eventually it'll be the price. It'll be, oh, I want this car. It's 2 ounces of gold. Gold will be the money. Silver will be the money. You take to the grocery store. You go to the dinners and everything else. And I assume that they'll come out with a gold back dollar like this. This will be gold, and this will mean it's gold back. And it'll probably be 30-40% gold. Not 100% gold, because there's just not enough gold and silver in the world. However, if it is backed in gold, you only need a dime for milk and eggs. You won't need $3-4 for it. And most things, even a car, will probably be $500 for a new car in gold. So that's what will happen. Everything will get repriced into gold and silver. So I don't know if that's what the Great Reset is, all these names they got to put on everything. But basically, you've printed the dollar to death. Nobody wants it. And what do I say about gold and silver? Will it go down? And he says, as long as there's high demand, which there is, and low supply, which there is, the price has to go up, because there's more people wanting it than there is supply. And the only way you can get it is to raise the price. Okay. So with that being said, what will cause the price to come down? No demand. And how are we going to get no demand? We can't. But look at the dollar. So let's play economics here. Is there demand for this? No. Nobody in the BRICS countries wants this. Saudi Arabia doesn't want this for their oil. They really want gold for their oil, gold or silver. And with the yuan, if they take the yuan, they convert it to gold. So Saudi Arabia wants gold for oil. Nobody wants this. Maybe the UK and Germany and France and Italy, the Western Europeans maybe want this, but I don't even know if they want it or not. But they're taking it's still in play, but it's worth nothing, right? So if this is worth nothing, if there's no demand, it's worth nothing. And there's no demand because you've printed it to death. I don't want it. It's too highly printed. So therefore, the value goes down. Plus the value goes down because you're printing the shit out of it. So this has no value because there's no demand. But what is gold and silver, as I talk about, the demand keeps going up and up and up. And the only way an asset like that goes down is if there's no demand, like the dollar. Why do you think stocks go down? No demand for it. Stocks go up, demand. So you want to buy your silver mines or your gold mines or Amazon or whatever. And the reason the Amazons and the Teslas go up is there's demand for it. And the reason the miners aren't going up is there's no demand for it. It's an auction house, the stock market, and it's a Ponzi scheme stock market. So is there demand for the dollar? No. Is there demand for gold and silver? Yes. Is the demand for gold and silver going to stop? Not in our lifetimes. Because since the dollar is worthless, you have to have gold or silver, and it doesn't matter what the price, you're going to buy it. And if the gold goes to 10,000, you'll buy 1/10 of an ounce or 1/4 ounce, and then you're going to go to the silver. It'll be at 1,000. You'll go, well, give me a few of those. That's what'll happen. I wouldn't recommend junk silver. I don't know what I got. I don't know how I'm going to spend it, but I know an ounce says 1 ounce pure 999 silver. So I know I got an ounce of silver. That's there's no guess. But if I give you a quarter or a dime, what's the value of it? And I read somewhere where there's like 14. So if you have 14 mercury dimes equal an ounce, I don't. But if you have a half and 2 quarters and 4 dimes equaling 140, that's an ounce. I don't believe that at all. Supposedly they're equal weighted. I don't buy it. Again, prove it. I mean, what are you going to do? You're going to take it to a restaurant. Nobody's going to know. That's why if it says 1 ounce pure 999, you know exactly what it is. Anyway, so that's the point. That's why you buy gold and silver, because there'll always be demand, because there's no demand for the dollar, any dollars. The only demand there's going to be is when BRICS comes out with the gold-backed currency. But then theoretically, you're buying gold. So of course there's demand for the gold. And that's what it's supposed to be 40% backed by gold. The yuan, the Indian, the Saudi Arabia, the Russian, it'll all be much more expensive because they'll come out with gold-backed currency. So they know the dollar's gone. So there goes the demand, there goes the value. It's as simple as that. So will the demand for gold and silver go down? No. Oh, why would it? Well, it went from 70 to 80. I'm going to profit take it. But then you're back on the Titanic. You're back in the paper dollar that has no value because nobody wants it. So you think you made $10,000 by buying it at 70 and selling it at 80. Problem is, you're back in dollars, and the dollar is not worth anything. So the 10,000 that you think you made is not worth anything. Therefore, you didn't make anything. You lost money because now you're out of the gold and silver. And as it keeps going up and up and up, because the demand's there and it's not price fixed, you're going to see a real thing. So everybody's brainwashed into believing COMEX is the real price, a physical price of gold and silver. And it's not. It's not close to it. And even at $4,500 for gold, we'll say, it's still not the real price. It's the COMEX price, diluted with paper contracts and derivatives, but it's not anywhere near the physical price because there's far less physical than there are paper contracts. So the whole contract COMEX thing is about as stupid as these kickoffs in the NFL from everybody standing at the 20-yard line. I mean, that's about how stupid it is. So I just don't, that's about as clear as you can get. Will gold and silver keep going up? Absolutely. And it goes by demand. I was in LinkedIn and I look at some of these gold people write about gold and I just tear them out. You don't even know what inflation is. Oh yeah, they're keeping inflation down. No, you're not. It's not prices. It's money printing, you idiot. And I'll call them idiots too, because they're on LinkedIn like trying to be like a director or a professor, and I love just ripping them apart because they think they're intelligent because they're a director, and they probably never have anybody talk to them the way I do. But I just tell them you're full of shit. That's not what inflation is. That is, you buy gold because it's a protector, and the value goes up. And stop looking at comex. You don't even know comex is fake. So I do a lot of that. So I know some guy. I said, well, the gold goes up because bricks, because the demand for the asset. He says, well, it's not bricks, but you didn't say what it was. And I just lit him up. I said, yeah, it is bricks. I'm 100% sure. I don't know what you're smoking, but you're wrong. And if you think you're right, what do you think it is? And I hate when people can't. Well, you're wrong. Okay, why? Well, I can't answer that. So you just call me wrong because you have no idea. All right, we'll get back to economics. Please feel free to ask questions. So last night our free pick lost. Atlanta 27, the Rams 24. Hard to believe. I looked at the score because I don't get ESPN. It's 21-0 Atlanta. A pick six and a 95-yard run. The Rams come all the way back and it's tied at 24. And I go, I just got to win by one. Tied at 24. And then Atlanta kicks a field goal at the end. And your first thought is, why doesn't Atlanta play like this every week? And that's where you have a bad coach. If you can do this to the Rams, where is this every week? And that's Stafford's problem, throwing the pick sixes, just like golf. And then, but they come storming back, shows heart. So now they're out of the 1 seed. They can't win the division. So I don't know what they're going to play for. They'll probably play next week because they're embarrassed and they lost and they don't want to win the playoffs losing 2 in a row. So anyway, they had to win and they lost. I didn't understand why they couldn't be the 1 seed. If Frisco won, then they'd all be tied. Why they were out. So I don't get that. But anyway, the Rams, they played. I mean, it's not like is Stafford playing? Is Puka playing? They're all playing. So again, I looked at the box score and it was, and then in the second half, they didn't do anything. So it's 21-0. And next thing you know, it's 24-24. When I looked like in the middle of the third quarter and it was like 21-10. And I said, okay, I got a good chance. They're starting to score. But what happened in the beginning of the game, I don't know. That's part of the travel. It takes you a while to warm up and get into the game. In Atlanta, for some reason, played, why? They had nothing to play for. You got Kirk Cousins out there. What's he playing to try to get so he can be a backup on another team? Now, if Penix was playing, I might not have locked LA. I would have played it small. But Kirk Cousins is terrible. Anyway, so that's that. So now let's go into this week. And here we go. We got Tampa Bay 3-44 against Carolina. The winner wins the division. Although I thought there's something with Atlanta winning about Tampa Bay. Let's just check the standings. I thought winner wins the division. Yeah, Carolina is 8-8. Tampa and Atlanta are 7-9. So maybe if Tampa wins and Atlanta wins, maybe Atlanta wins the division. I'll have to read more into that. But it's a pretty competitive division. Is Carolina 8-8? They suck. Tampa at 7-9 are just injured. Atlanta 7-9 is injured. New Orleans at 6-10 is shocking that they've won 6 games. Tyler Shaw, maybe, I don't know who's watching New Orleans football. I'll have to watch the highlights. They're really playing good defense, and that's what you look at is the defense, right? Atlanta didn't have a great defense, so I took LA. Seattle's got a great defense, so you got to be careful there. Um, so I'm not sure. I don't know. I'll have to double check that. I thought the winner would get in, but it looks like maybe Atlanta, if they win and Tampa wins, then maybe Atlanta gets in. I don't know. But I don't know. Tampa, the way they're playing, it's pretty hard. Hard to watch. All right. So let's look. All right. Tampa Bay 3-44. Should be winner wins the division, but we'll fine tune that. Anyway, they're going to play. They got to beat Carolina regardless, and then we'll see because Atlanta has New Orleans. They could lose that game. That's what'll happen. Atlanta could win if Tampa wins. They'll lose to New Orleans, and then Tampa will win, and they'll get into the division. But Carolina really didn't show anything against Seattle. Seattle just killed them. Seattle with a very strong defense, like I said. So you've got Tampa 3-44. They're playing terrible defense. Tampa Bay. I don't see how you can bet Carolina. We'll have to go total over or under, I think. But Carolina's got a pretty good defense. Tampa doesn't. I don't know. Seattle, Frisco. This is these two games are Saturday. Seattle is 149.5. I really don't know what to do with this. It's at Frisco. Seattle with a good defense. Frisco is playing very strong offensively. Sam Darnold, you got to worry about the choke, right? This is his prime area of choking. He choked against the Lions in week 17, I believe, when they could have won the 1 seed and the division, and he threw 5 picks. Then in the playoffs, he loses to the Rams, I believe. And, in the big games, he doesn't show up. So I doubt he shows up. But, well, he had a great defense with Minnesota. They couldn't win. So they have a great defense in Seattle. Seattle's pretty much, this is like Minnesota last year. Very strong defense. And Darnold, they got a running game. He's got Smith Najimba, who's well overrated. He's okay. He's not that good. So it's a tough game. Do I take the Niners as the dog at home in a game for the number 1 seed? And I think you got to go with the best defense, although I'm not really unsure of San Francisco's defense, although their key players are hurt. The backups are coming in. You got Saleh back as the defensive coordinator. So we will see. This is a very, I got to study this a little more. The best defense, Seattle. How bad's the Niner defense? Well, the Bears lit them up. So we'll see. But I think this will be a close game, and it's at the 49ers. I think it's terrible that if they win and they're the 1 seed, they're hosting the Super Bowl. You can't have that. You can't have the Niners hosting the Super Bowl. You've had the Rams and Tampa host it. No, those are wrong too. You can't have that. You've got to have an alternate. It should be played at a different place. If the team is in there, if the Niners win it, then the game should be in the Rose Bowl or should be in Houston or Chicago or somewhere else. Houston 40.5 to Indy. Houston a must win. Trying to catch Jacksonville to win their division. And that Houston's a very strong defense, as we know. I was working on my grades, pulling in last week's stats. I got about halfway through. I'll do the rest this afternoon. But what we do know is Houston with the strong defense. Indy, Rivers isn't doing anything. It's his name, right? Philip Rivers. But, Lawrence choked threw like 3 interceptions last week. Him and Darnold make their own club. They won because Lawrence ran the ball in. So what's happening is they get into the red zone. Lawrence can't throw the ball. Two of his picks are in the red zone. So what happens is he goes back and runs. So I would just blitz Lawrence inside the 10-yard line. I would blitz him. He can't read it. He's not going to throw it. He wants to run, and I would just blitz him. And again, these defensive coordinators are so fucking stupid. You don't spy the quarterback. You blitz the quarterback. You make him overreact, think fast that he can't, and you'll just sack him. You can't, if you let him start running, your guy's standing there. This guy's running at me. It's easy for him to go boom, boom. My guy's not running. He's standing there. It's a huge disadvantage to be standing when somebody's running at you. Right? It's just the thought of a spy. If the guy's just going to sit there and spy, just let him blitz. These NFL coaches are so stupid. So look for Houston. They're hot. At home. They'll probably pound Indy. Tennessee, Jacksonville, 13, 47.5. Tennessee's scoring a little bit more. Their defense still sucks. Jacksonville is a strong A team. Their defense, I went into the last 5, and they don't give up more than 20 points in any of them. We'll have to check the KC game, but I mean it's very low. Tennessee blown out here. We will see. Dallas and the Giants. What do we do with this game? The Giants are so stupid. They beat Oakland to lose the number 1 pick. What can you say? Dallas, great offense, terrible defense. Giants, very little offense, just start running around. And a weak defense. You think they have a good defense, they don't. How do these guys even play? I mean, they don't care. They just care about their money. It's a meaningless game for both these teams. I don't know. Dak did win at Washington barely. Again, it was beating these third-string quarterbacks. There was 5 third-string quarterbacks, and I think they all covered. I mean, Kansas City covered. Minnesota, Detroit lost to a high school quarterback. I love it. Dallas against Washington, and then you had Miami with Quentin Ewers, who's terrible, and then Prime Jr. won. I mean, I don't know. These are third-string quarterbacks you're losing to. How stupid are these defensive coordinators? Seriously, you're losing to the guys that are like high school quarterbacks. These aren't good quarterbacks you're losing to. I don't know what to say. I mean, I've never seen such bad coaching. That's the problem when we try to bet it. We're assuming things. And I'm figuring this with the bowl games. It's really hard when you've got all these guys sitting out and you really don't have data on the backups. How are they going to be? Especially backup quarterback or running back. It's very difficult. Now, I did see Daggio is playing, so at least I know what I got with Vanderbilt. But I like how they put him against Iowa. Like, oh, let's see. We'll show you how good Daggio is. He's got to play Iowa in their defense. And how hard are they going to play? Anyway, that's really the problem. We're looking for a lot of data points, right? That's why I say the first few weeks I can't bet it. I don't know what team I have. And then I get stronger as we get to the middle and end of the year. And I've been on fire the last 4 or 5 weeks. And that's when you get here, what are we doing here, Dallas and the Giants? Are we playing? And how, like, does CD Lamb really care? Does Pickens, who's got a head case anyway, really care? You got Pittsburgh without their guy because the fan harassed the player and should be thrown in jail for that. He says, I didn't use a racist remark. Well, what did you use? How did you provoke him? So you provoked him a different way. You called him by his real name of whatever DK stands for. So you provoked him that way. You provoked him. He reacted, and you said, look, he hit me. I've had that happen to me where people will provoke you, and then you react, and okay, I got him on the reaction. Well, you provoked me. So you started it. Of course, you're going to get a reaction. I'm not, I'm not a wimp. I'm gonna stand up for myself. Anyway, so I don't know what we have here. We got a total of 52. Probably over because Dallas has no defense. Dallas scores a lot and has no defense. We'll see. Cleveland at Cincy. We can always count on Joe Burrow. I think we count on him here. We'll look at the injuries and everything, but Cleveland 744 or Cincinnati 744 to Cleveland at Cincy. Cleveland, okay, you got your win. You beat Pitt, who didn't have DK Metcalf. Okay, fine. But you're not going to Cleveland. You're not going to Cincinnati and winning kind of a rivalry game. They'll probably get. If I was Cincinnati, I'd just let Myles Garrett get his sack total, and then okay, why don't you go sit on the bench? And now we're gonna, play. But I don't know if he's gonna bother Joe Burrow too much. We'll see. New Orleans, Atlanta 2.5, 43.5. Now we have to see is this if Tampa wins and they win, do they win the division? Because they weren't supposed to beat the Rams, but they did. Maybe that's why they beat the Rams, because they mathematically had a chance. Although I can't imagine them getting up for the Rams and then losing to New Orleans. But New Orleans seems to be playing good, real good defense. What was that score last week? All right. Washington at Philly. Philly has nothing to play for. However, they didn't have anything to play for last week, and they go to Buffalo and get the win. Why they didn't kick the extra point, I can't. I don't even understand the coaches. I mean, you tie the game, and then, okay, my kicker missed when we got 13-6. He misses the extra point, so therefore he's not going to make this one. I mean, okay, they missed one, they're not going to miss two. It's still better than the play you ran. So I didn't really understand it. So the Buffalo coach needs to be fired. He's an idiot. Philly gets lucky. Well, it should have at least went to overtime, but again, Jalen Hurts sucks. Stop scoring. They had him 13-0 and then nothing in the second half. Philly is 741. Washington probably with Johnson again, the third string quarterback. Philly, I think, since they lost 3 in a row, will play. They don't have anything to play for, but they will play. Maybe it's like the 2 seed or the 3 seed. They're tied with the Bears. And then depending what happens with Seattle and San Francisco and LA, I mean, there's 5 teams all there with 11 wins or more. Philly at home, I think they'll win the game. Miami, New England. New England's 12.45.5. They should kill them. New England is playing for the 1 seed with Denver. So I'd say New England will play, and they'll kill them. It'll probably be cold there because it's cold here. And you're getting my weather in New England. They're laying 12.45.5. I really don't know how Tampa lost this game with Quentin Ewers at the quarterback. They're probably the stupidest coach team. Again, their offensive coordinator went to Jacksonville, and they're playing well. And obviously, the guy they replaced him with is an idiot, sort of like the Lions' offensive coordinator. When you get a good coordinator, you got to sign him to a 5-year contract. You can't let him leave because there's only a handful of good coordinators. And if you let one like Ben Johnson, you let him go, you got the Bears in first place, and you're sitting there, you're not even going to be 500. And if you had Ben Johnson, you probably would have won most of those games. So I like New England a must win and Quentin Ewers. Although I said that last week, and I don't know where he came from. Arizona goes to the Rams. The Rams 9.5, 47. Now this will get interesting. The Rams are out of the 1 seed. The Niners are better 2. Now one of them's going to lose. So here come the Rams. Looks like at 6 seed. So they'll be ahead of Green Bay. Is it? They'll be behind the whoever loses the other one. So what is now? We know Arizona's terrible, and we knew Buda Baker's out, which we talked about why we locked Cincinnati last week. And I think it's a similar thing. I think the Rams want to play a good game going into the playoffs. I don't see them resting Stafford, Buka Nuka. None of those. I think they'll play, and they'll play to win, and they got Arizona, who just sucks. So this is more betting against Arizona. But again, the Rams off of a loss. They don't want to go into the playoffs losing to Arizona and Atlanta. Really? KC, Oakland, I don't know. KC with their third string quarterback are actually 5.5-point favorites over Oakland. 36.5 total. I don't know. I assume Geno Smith. There's no Crosby. There's no Brock Bowers against KC, and you got no Mahomes. I was listening on the radio, and some guy was making a comment about golf that he's a drop back passer, and there's very few. There's Stafford and him, and I think there was Aaron Rodgers. I'm thinking now Mahomes is a drop back passer. Mahomes isn't looking to run. He's mobile, but he's not. He's a pocket passer. And if we go down the list, if I go down the list of pocket passers, Dak's very much a pocket passer. Golf is. Let's look at Washington. Penix or Daniels is pretty much a pocket passer, but he can run. Minnesota, well, they don't even have a quarterback. Denver, Bo Nix is very much a pocket passer who can get out, but his primary thing is staying in the pocket and throwing. He's not in the pocket trying to, I mean, Roger Staubach was a pocket passer, but he would scramble. And so that's what I'm talking about. Mahomes definitely, Houston, CJ Stroud is pretty much a pocket passer. These guys can move around, but they're not very smart. They're not very good. Herbert, he's definitely a pocket passer. He can, again, they can run as a last resort to gain a few yards, but that's, Joe Namath ran. Bart Starr could run. I mean, they all can run a little bit, but that's not the point. Montana would run a little bit, but he was a pocket passer. Baltimore, Lamar definitely not a pocket passer. And Green Bay, Love is a pocket passer. Darnold is a pocket passer. Steve Young is lousy. He's not a good passer or a good runner. Drake May, I think he's becoming a pocket passer with running ability. The Jets, they don't have a quarterback. Big Steve Cook, the bowler, he's more of a, I don't know if he's a pocket passer or not. Tampa Bay, the Baker, he is a pocket passer. Again, when it breaks down, they look to run, but they're not running. They're not trying to run. Like Lamar, actually, is a terrible pocket passer. Miami, Tagovailoa is a pocket passer, certainly not a runner. Jacksonville, Lawrence is strictly a runner, not a passer. Phillip Rivers, pocket passer. Daniel Jones was more of a runner, I think. Tyler Shaw, I don't know what he is, and Cam Ward, he's just terrible. Pitt, Aaron Rodgers is definitely a pocket passer who couldn't run for a few yards. I mean, they all can kind of escape and run for 5 yards like Mahomes. They are pocket passers. They sit in the pocket trying to throw first. That's what they are, and that's my definition of it. Cleveland, God knows what they have. Prime Jr., just lousy. Arizona, Cam Ward definitely wants to run. Brissett's a pocket passer. Joe Burrow, definitely a pocket passer. Dart is a runner, not a passer. Geno Smith, I don't know what he's more of a pocket passer, I think. Hurts, just lousy. not a pocket passer, not a runner. I don't know what he does. He doesn't do anything good. Josh Allen is pretty much a pocket passer who can run for a few yards here or there. He's kind of a hybrid, but he's very much a pocket passer. By that I mean he goes in the pocket and he's looking to pass. He's not trying to run, right? But he could run, but he's not trying to. Chicago, Caleb, pocket passer all the way. Purdy, pocket passer. Stafford, pocket passer. In Atlanta, Penix is very much a pocket passer. He's not looking to run. He's looking to pass. So if you're looking to pass first in the pocket, you're a pocket passer. So I just named you about 25 pocket passers, and this guy on the radio is like, oh, there's only 3. There's Burrow, and I don't even know if he said Burrow. There's Aaron Rodgers, Golf, and Stafford. So I think you forgot Burrow. But anyway, that's what you got. So KC, Oakland. I don't know why KC's favored with this guy. I guess Oakland, again, won't try. Again, Crosby's not on the team. He's quitting because they didn't want him to play. Well, fine. If you don't want me to play, I'll go play somewhere else. So, they're all babies. All right, if you want me to sit on the bench and make $30 million, I'll be more than happy to. San Diego at Denver. San Diego losing to Houston hands the division to Denver and a chance for the 1 seed. Denver's 12.5, 37.5. Herbert's out. With the broken hand, they're resting him. Big mistake against Bo Nix. So Denver's playing for the 1 seed. Look for them to play. Herbert will be out. Probably an under if you don't have Herbert, and you're going to go with who? Stick or whatever the guy's name is, or whoever. It's hard for the backup to come in and play. He has no continuity. I would not sit Herbert out. I would never sit out a player to rest, and I would never play a player or draft a player who sits out to get ready for the draft. If you want to get ready for the draft because you're afraid to get hurt, I don't want you on my team. I don't know. They don't blow out, but without Herbert. So maybe it's an under here. Detroit at Chicago. Chicago 2.5, 50.5. Detroit's out of it. Chicago is theoretically the 1 seed goes to whoever wins Seattle and San Francisco. They're not playing for that. Maybe they're playing for the 2 seed with Philadelphia, both at 11-5. I think Chicago plays to win because they're hot and they're coming off the loss. Detroit's just pathetic. I think Chicago wins this game big. I'll probably make this the free play. Chicago plus 3.5. We will see. Because Detroit, even if they were to try, they suck. I'm sure, tried last week against Minnesota. Let's see if this line moved. At 2.5, 50.5. All right. I don't know. Prophet, good morning. Crosby claims he was ready to go last week for the Raiders, but they decided to sit him out. It could cost them a draft pick. Yeah, he was playing basketball from what I hear. He did a video of him playing basketball saying, I'm fine. I believe he was fine. I believe the Raiders didn't want to win. They want the first draft pick. What are they going to do with it? Mendoza or Dago? Diago is playing, by the way, tomorrow, I believe. Vandy. More important than any of this shit. Well, that's Oakland's business. If Oakland wants to lose, is that fixing? And now you're talking about dangerous betting things. If you said, hey, we're not going to try, bet on the Giants. The Giants won easy. So and I think I said that the Giants were going to win. But that's the thing. So if you actually think then that's kind of fixing a game, and they should definitely lose all their draft picks. You can't go out to lose. You can't sit out players. Well, that's not true. You can like Herbert. They're sitting out Herbert this week. He's can play. He played last week. So in effect, San Diego is doing the same thing. You cannot rest players if they're healthy. Now Herbert with the broken hand, but he's playing, so he's healthy. So there you get into a gray area. Sitting out a player. Well, look what they're doing with Miami with Ewers and Tagovailoa. Tag's healthy, but he sucks. So how is that any different than what Oakland did with now Brock Bauer supposedly was injured. Now you don't know, but sending out Crosby, you know, I don't see how you lose a draft pick because again, too many teams sit out their players because they suck. Look at J.J. McCarthy. He sucks. They sat him out. They faked an injury. Yeah, he's got a high ankle sprain for 6 weeks. Congratulations. He sucks. We can't play him. All right. So I think Chicago, the coach wants to beat Detroit. Detroit beat them 51-20 the first week. I think week 2 or week 3. Yeah. Look for Chicago big here. Yeah, let's just make it our free play. Your free plays take the Bears. I think Peyton's going to play. Mike Dick is going to play. Jim McMahon, I think he's going to show up. And our favorite, the wrestler, McMahon or McMichael. Yeah, play it free. You can play with Miami of Florida, my free. That's my free college play. So you can play those two together. Go make some money. The JETS is against Buffalo. Buffalo -7. Buffalo's out of it. They lost. That's why I didn't know why. Would they have been better off with a tie than a loss against New England? They'd be a half a game behind them, which means, well, let's take a look at the standings. I'll tell you how stupid this coach really is. So let's say Buffalo goes for the extra point, ties the game at 13. All right, New England's 13-3. Buffalo would have been 11-4-1. So they would have been screwed because even with the win and Buffalo loses, Buffalo would be 13-4, and New England would be 13-4, and Buffalo would have been 12-4-1. Yeah, so they needed the win to keep pace. But still should have gone for the tie. I don't understand the coaches. Well, it's 4th down. We got to go for it. Oh, and they all go for it. And let's go for 2. Oh, are you insane? Especially against Philadelphia. Going for 2 is probably the stupidest move I've ever seen. I don't care what you call analytics. I don't buy it. It's bullshit. Like AI, it's bullshit. Profit. It definitely seems to be the Bears' year. It wouldn't surprise me to see them in the Super Bowl. I don't know if they can beat Seattle with that defense. However, if they get Seattle out of the way, they might. It's sort of like teams that couldn't beat Kansas City finally don't have to face Kansas City. And, it's like the year Baltimore won with Ray Lewis and Ed Reed. They beat New England, right? And they got in without it. There's always teams that get in your way. And if you get rid of that team, so Buffalo, I don't think they have a chance, but they don't have to face Kansas City. So with the Bears, there's really nobody in the NFC. Philadelphia, you still got to worry about with their defense. The Bears beat Philadelphia and ran for 300 yards in that game. That's what turned me around with the Bears. I didn't think they're that good, but when you went into Philly and won, it cost us money because we had Philly even. then you just jump on the Bear. You go, okay, they won at Philly. Forget it. They're good. Because when they play the bad teams, you don't really know what to think about it. Well, they're playing like New England. Yeah, they're playing a bunch of bad teams. And yeah, I like the way I like the way the offense is throwing the ball down the field. So I do think New England's for real. Houston needs a quarterback, great defense. Jacksonville needs a quarterback, but a great defense also. So all the really strong defensive teams are what's really who you're taking. I took Jacksonville over Indy last week only because of the defense, not because of Trevor Lawrence. And the same thing with Seattle over Carolina. It was an easy one with that. Cincinnati, I just knew Joe Burrow would score a lot of points, and Arizona had no defense. Profit. SF is getting hot at just the right time as well. Well, that was a great game. Like I said, I had the over in the game. It was a lock, and it was over 46, and I had 49 at halftime. It was 28-21 at halftime. I had won the game. So I think Brock Purdy looks different. He's moving around more, showing a lot of good, he's more decisive. The defense, they're using the rookies. There's a rookie from Texas. You got rid of Bosa, so what do you have? But yeah, the Niners, I think a lot of it's Salah. See, that's the problem. You see him as a great defensive coordinator at the Niners, then you make him a head coach at the Jets. He's not a head coach. He was trying to do rah-rah with Aaron Rodgers, and Aaron Rodgers gave him a look. Hey, don't talk to me like that. But that's how he talks to his defensive players. So, again, being a good coordinator does not make you a good coach. Ben Johnson's the exception where he actually looks like he knows what he's doing, but I think it's just his offense. And then the other guy from the Lions sucks, the Jets coach. He looks like he's in over his head. The Jets look terrible. And the thing is, he was a defensive coordinator. They're giving up like 35 points a game. So we got Buffalo and the Jets. Buffalo off of a loss. I look for them to win. I look for them and the Rams to win this week. They don't want to go into the playoffs losing 2 games in a row. So I think there is some incentive. Now, Josh Allen, we got to be careful. He's got a bad ankle. I have no idea who their backup is. And since you use Josh Allen as a running back, this will be ironic. Here's KC out of the way, and then Josh Allen has like a broken foot or something, and he can't play when there's no Kansas City. So they go out quickly. So I don't know. His foot's hurting him. He probably did not want to do that. The push tush at the end of the game probably hurt him, but we'll see. Again, it's only the Jets who suck, and they're only laying 7. So probably you won't see Josh Allen or just a little bit this week. He'll probably rest his foot, but they still want to win. So we got to find out the backup. And then Baltimore at Pitt. Baltimore 340.5. The best thing that can happen is it's Huntley against Rodgers, not Lamar. I really don't see Lamar as I don't think he cares. I think he just loses. He doesn't seem to get any better. He runs too much. His first reaction is to run. Now, they lost at home to Pittsburgh 27-22 a couple of weeks ago. Aaron Rodgers is saying, well, that was the worst game we've ever played coming against Cleveland. They're at home. How do they react? So this is what gets weird. You go, oh, I ain't betting Pittsburgh. They look like crap against Prime Jr. And then here we go. Now they turn it up. Now they're at home. And this is what makes it really difficult. I think they're a live dog in the game, actually, although the problem is DK Metcalf's not there. How much do we discount DK Metcalf not being there? Again, it's always about variables. That's the key. Did the variables change? DK Metcalf's not there. Variable changed. Lamar's not playing. Now, that was a better variable because Huntley's better than Lamar. But Harbaugh is too stupid to understand that. He never should have left Huntley. Should have just kept playing Huntley and go, Lamar, you get better. We don't need you. We're actually winning without you. Lamar missed the whole season basically. He's a guy that's got the money, so he doesn't care. Where you'd see other players. Look at Aaron Rodgers, has got a broken left wrist. He's playing. Lamar, I hurt my toe. I stubbed my knee. Yeah, I guess I won't play. He's just a baby. That's all he's ever been. That's why they never win. He's got no grit, he's not strong. He's just weak. And the only reason he's any good is because he could run. He's never a good passer at Louisville. He didn't do shit throwing the ball. They got blown out by Florida State like 37-0. He had one good game, I think against Clemson or something, where he ran a lot. And then once everybody saw it, then it didn't work. But Harbaugh is too stupid to get out of it, right? Okay, let's put Lamar at wide receiver. Like he should be Anton Randall. He should be the slot receiver. You're fast. Can you catch? And you're fast anyway. Otherwise, we'll put you at punt returns. Otherwise, you're a wasted draft pick. That's why nobody really wanted him. He's not a quarterback. And Baltimore's won nothing with him. How he's the league MVP is a joke. Clearly, would you rather have Mahomes or would you rather have Lamar? Come on. So that's this week. So again, Carolina-Tampa game, Seattle-Frisco, Houston game, the Jacksonville game, New England and the Baltimore-Pitt game, and the Denver game. So New England, Denver is going for the 1 seed, but they're in, but they both won it. Where teams like Chicago and Philadelphia, they're not playing for anything, but they are. I don't think they want to go in losing 2 in a row. So I think they'll try. For sure, the Bears will try. They don't want to lose the momentum. And that's it. I mean, the other teams, the Rams probably will play because they're playing Arizona. And I don't care if Stafford doesn't play. We got Stenson Benson from Georgia, and he looked good. He started to look really good last year. So I would, if he plays, I'm fine with it either way. So how's Dallas going to play Minnesota and Green Bay? Who cares? New Orleans, Atlanta. I'm not sure. Atlanta might, with a win and a Tampa win, get in. So we have to research that. Because then they'll all be 8-8. But I know Carolina beat Atlanta twice. Cincinnati, we look for Joe Burrow to kill Cleveland. Atlanta, okay. Philly, Arizona, and the Rams. The Rams should. KC, Oakland, I have no idea. We don't have enough data on this new guy, and we have too much data on Geno Smith. Obviously, the team's fractured with what Crosby said and Brock Bowers being out. So you can't really count on Oakland. To me, this is probably the lock is Kansas City because Oakland obviously wants to get the number 1 pick, and they lost to the Giants on purpose. I can't see them, if the Giants were to lose and they win, then they're back where they're the number 2 seed. So I don't see Oakland even coming to play. Great ownership there. Denver and then the Bears, Detroit. The coach hates Detroit. I think he's going to light them up. Buffalo, the Jets. I don't think Allen's going to play. I wouldn't count on Allen to play here. And then Baltimore Pitt is for the last seed. Again, you don't have DK Metcalf. J.J. Watt might play. He was practicing last week. I think if they would have won and clinched, then he wouldn't have played this week, and he'd wait for the first week of the playoffs. But because they lost and they need the game where there's no, this is do or die, I wouldn't be surprised if he plays. I'll go through my teaser trends. I have updated the games. I think I updated the last night's game. Sometimes I forget to do the Monday night game, but I think I did it. Yeah, I'm sure I did it. The Rams were road favorites. Yeah. There's a few I missed. I still got New Orleans with 15. With 15 games, they played 16, so I got to go back through my sheets and see where I missed one. Sometimes I might hit 2 instead of 3 on my numbers to update. So that's that. In the college bowls today, we have 2 games. Coastal Carolina and El Tech. We all love Coastal Carolina against Lou Monroe, but I don't think we love him here. Well, there's 3 games today. All right. So there's Lou. Let's go to the spread. All right, we got LTAC 10.5, 49.5, up from 9.5, and then 51 down to 49.5. Call it 50. Coastal Car and LTAC. Coastal Car is an E team with a 34 defense. LTAC a B team with a 21 defense. So I don't know. 5:30 is Tennessee, Illinois. Tennessee, Joey Aguilar is playing, but a lot of their guys are sitting out. Illinois seems to be playing. Tennessee's a 3-point favorite, 61.5. The game's in Tennessee. It's the Motor City Bowl or some hee-haw or something, something bowl. Oh, the Music City Bowl. There you go. Tennessee, the over team with the 28 defense, and Aguilar is playing. Illinois, a B team with a 23. Illinois wants the game. They are going to play, as I imagine Tennessee will, being at home. But some of their guys got to get ready for the NFL draft in December, I guess. So Tennessee at 28 and Illinois at 20. Could be an over game with Aguilar and Altmaier. He's a good quarterback, but we'll see. And then USC TCU is tonight. USC 5.5, 56.5. USC's quarterback's playing. The receivers are not playing. I've never seen anything so stupid. The other hand, TCU's quarterback's out, but their receivers are playing. I think I took this one. If you are playing with my things, I think I took this one. Yes, I did take USC, Vandy, the USC game and the Vandy game. And tomorrow I played the Michigan game. I was going to play Utah, but the coach is now the Michigan coach, so it's not like the last game they're going to play for the coach. All right, so USC 5.5, 56. So I got USC's quarterback and not receivers, and TCU not their quarterback. And I figure it's easier for USC to get the backup receivers in there because they already know the guys are sitting out, and everybody has 5, 6, 7 receivers anyway. And then I've got TCU without the quarterback. That's harder to replace the backup quarterback. You don't know what you're getting there. But I did play that USC TCU game. I wanted to play it over, but then I couldn't because the quarterback's not there. Tomorrow we got Iowa, Vandy 5.5, 46.5. And Daggio is playing. And he said, I'm definitely playing. So this is what you like. This is why I draft Daggio first. So he's going to play. Iowa, B team with a 15 defense, which we know, and it's a little better at home. Vanderbilt's an A team with a 21 defense. So not only they got Daggio, they got a fairly good defense. It should be a pretty good game. So I did play those two. I know it's hard to play them because I don't have my player. Is the guy playing or not? Or in the second half, are they going to pull all their players? Arizona State and Duke. Duke 3.5, 49.5. Duke is favorite. Okay, Duke's favorite. Arizona State an under team with a 23 defense. Duke an over team with a 28. I think some of the Arizona State players aren't playing. It's just I don't really get why they have bowl games. It used to be to go on a vacation. I'm in Michigan, and Michigan's going to play in the Gator Bowl against Oklahoma because Nebraska won the title, and Michigan, Oklahoma in the Gator Bowl, and I get a vacation in Florida, Christmas time. Okay, that was the idea of a bowl game. Not these. Oh, let's have Missouri State play Arkansas State in a bowl game in the middle of December, December 19th. That's not the point of the bowl game. It's a vacation. Nobody's taking a vacation the 19th. It's very stupid. I don't get it. And then you have everybody sitting out. So that's why I'm focusing more on the playoff games. I know I got everybody playing. I don't have to worry about Ohio State sitting out their quarterback, getting ready for the draft. So I just assume they go to a 30-team playoff and let everybody play, and at least I can pick them like it's the middle of the season, and I know I got my players playing. This is just ridiculous because you don't really have data. Like I say, when they bring in the backup, you don't really know who you got. He could be great. He could suck. I mean, that's where I got Cam Rising. It was third stringer. First two got hurt, and he came in and lit it up. I mean, that's the point. So, he's third stringer. I'm going to bet against Cam Rising. You're out of your mind. But that's what happens. Profit. Okay. No, you already said. All right. So Duke, Arizona State, I don't know. The game it's the Sun Bowl, which I believe is Texas. Yeah, it's in Texas. So I don't know what that helps. Duke's a pretty good offensive team. The quarterback is playing. Arizona State, Levitt's already hurt, so they got the backup in anyway. I don't know. With Levitt's playing, I'd take Arizona State. They got pounded by Arizona, so I don't know. Michigan, Texas 7, 48.5. This game's in Florida. Michigan, a B team with an 18 defense. However, they're missing their coach. He's trying to kill people, so he's not good. We got Texas, a B team with 20, and we got Arch Manning, who's staying in school another 5 years till he becomes a good quarterback. Michigan with a good defense. Quarterback stinks. New coach. I don't know what you're getting. Texas, fairly good defense against Texas A&M. So I'm looking at that. Nebraska, Utah 14, 51.5. Now the coach retired and then went to Michigan. So they're not going to play for the coach. The assistant, I think the defensive coordinator is going to be the coach, so that will stay the same. Utah is much better than Nebraska. Raiola's and so you got the backup who played a few games as a freshman who basically, I don't know, he didn't impress me too much. A little bit of a runner. So 14's a bit much. Although if Dampier plays, they could easily blow out Nebraska. The game is at Las Vegas. It's the Las Vegas Bowl. And Nebraska brings a good defense. They bring a B team with a 23 defense. However, we don't know if they're an under team with the quarterback. And Utah's an A team with an 18. Maybe he has something to prove because they're not in the playoffs and they should be. This is a playoff team. It's ridiculous. Miami, Ohio State. Here's your free play. Ohio State 9.5 and 42.5. They're both A teams. A 12 defense for Miami, an 8 there. Just a second. I got to add a pick here. Okay. So this should be our under game here. This is your free play under is the play. I'm going to go Ohio State 16, Miami 13. So Ohio State, maybe Miami wins. They look good beating A&M, holding a better quarterback. We'll see. Oregon, Texas Tech, Oregon 2.5, 51.5. And I don't, for the life of me, understand why Oregon is favored in the game. I mean, Texas Tech is not close, by far the better team here. So they're both A teams. Oregon is 16 defense, Texas Tech at 10. Oregon struggled at Iowa, lost to Indiana. I don't think they've seen a defense like this. This defense is stronger than Indiana's. It's stronger than Ohio State's. Texas Tech, but they got a quarterback. So this is like playing Indiana, where they lost 30-20 at home. This is all wrong. Texas Tech should be a 3-point favorite, and the over/under should be about 42. I got Oregon favorite, and I got a 52.5 total. This is why I don't listen to analytics, and I don't listen to any of that bullshit, AI. I listen to me. And that's where you get to. When you understand what's going on, you don't listen to the noise. And that's why you're more successful, because we know to buy gold and silver. We don't listen, to anybody on YouTube. Well, yeah, no, I might not buy. No, it's overvalued. No, it's going to drop. No. These are idiots talking. All right. Alabama and Indiana. Indiana 7, 48.5. I don't know, go 6.5, go 7. But again, this is one line. I go to Scores and Odds to look at all the casinos to really get the line I want. I think, I don't know. I think Indiana wins. I'm troubled by Alabama putting up 38 on Oklahoma, although they did get a pick 6, which I don't know if they'll get from Indiana. This should be a war. I think Indiana, better quarterback, good running, better defense. They're both A teams. Again, Indiana's a 10 defense, and they just beat Ohio State, and they locked them down. And Alabama struggled against Oklahoma. They were down 17-0. Struggled against Auburn. Got killed by Georgia. I don't really smell what they're cooking, Alabama. Can they pull the upset? The only reason they could is Indiana's lack of experience. They played last year, was their first time in a bowl game in 20 years. So they don't really have that big game experience that Alabama does. So they could be a live dog, but I don't think they're going to win this. And last playoff game, Ole Miss against Georgia. Georgia 6.5, 55.5. Ole Miss without Lane Kiffin is not the same as Ole Miss with Lane Kiffin. The coach knows, well, look at the Lions. You don't have Ben Johnson, and they've fallen apart. You don't have Lane Kiffin. You're not going to be as successful offensively as you would have been. And you got this running quarterback, and Georgia's now learned how to play defense, apparently. And they just killed Alabama, and, They killed Georgia Tech, my Georgia Tech team. So I don't know. I think Georgia wins this game. I just think it's in the Sugar Bowl, so it's in New Orleans, which I don't think matters because they're both SEC. Alabama, Indiana's in the Rose Bowl, which I don't know. Orange Bowl is Oregon, Texas Tech, so you got a little heat. And then the Cotton Bowl is Miami, Ohio State, which Miami doesn't get the old Miami when they did it with Jimmy Johnson, Howard Schnellenberger. They were playing at home. It was their home. They're playing a championship game on their home turf, and that's why Miami was so successful in those bowl games. Well, here they put them in Dallas with Ohio State, and they brought the Oregon, Texas Tech to the Orange Bowl and didn't let Texas Tech have the home field. So Sugar Bowl, it's in New Orleans. I don't know. Both teams are real close to it. So anyway, I wouldn't be surprised if Georgia wins. I think not having Lane Kiffin hurts them, but even with Lane Kiffin, Georgia blew them out. So I think Georgia's going to be scared. They're going to win for sure. Then we go to Friday's games. All these games are on ESPN, so they're not on TV. It's amazing. Well, here's a Fox game, SMU, Arkansas, or Arizona. Rice, Texas State, right? Texas State, 14-57.5. We have a Z team. Rice is a Z team, 32 defense. Texas State's an over team with a 30. It's like a dream come true. Wait a minute. I got a over team playing a Z team in a bowl game. Thank you, God. So you got to love Texas State here. Roll Texas State. Beat Army. Let me highlight that so I don't forget. Yes, I got a Z team. Yes, thank you. How does the Z team with a record of 5-7 get into a bowl game? Now we just get to verify Texas State's not sitting out their quarterback. I think McCown. Otherwise, yeah, anchors away. The Navy goes against Cincy. Navy 7-54.5. I believe Sorsby's out. Cincinnati was a 4, and now Navy's a 7, 54.5. So the line moved when Sorsby went out. He's the quarterback for Cincy. I have no idea who the backup is. This is the problem. Is he any good? I don't know. Navy, we know. Very good team, good quarterback. Beat the Army for us. Navy an over team with the 27 defense. Cincinnati, we don't know. They're a B team with the 25 defense with Sorsby, who's not there. They started getting blown out late in the year. It's going to be very hard to stop Navy because you can't practice against Navy. You cannot run at the speed that Navy runs their option with your farm squad or whatever you want to call it, the third stringers. Arizona, SMU, Arizona 352.5. SMU was favored, then Arizona was favored. They're both A teams with 20 defenses. We'll have to check who's playing in the game. This is in San Diego. Navy Cincinnati is the Liberty Bowl. That's in Tennessee. Texas State is the Armed Forces Bowl. Where's it at? Japan? I mean, I don't know where the Armed Forces Bowl is at. Then we got Wake Forest and Old Mississippi State. Old Mississippi State's 3-point favorites, 53.5. I've been betting Mississippi State over the last month and winning against Wake Forest, who's been playing very good ball. They're a B team with the 21. Old Mississippi State's an over team with the 30. So I don't know. We'll have to check. Again, you got to check players. Even up to game day, you have to check players. So I would think the Texas State players are playing unless the guy went into the, transferred to go play at Notre Dame next year, the transfer portal. That's the problem with the lower teams. Now this NIL crap, it's really destroying it. I feel that you're losing your market. You're turning this into Vegas. You're going to a market that doesn't exist. The NIL is ridiculous. I really don't understand it at all. Why are you paying somebody $5 million? Look at Michigan. They paid underwear how many million, if you believe it, which I'm not sure I do, millions of dollars coming as a freshman. He sucked. You going to get your money back? Are you going to pay him for the next year? Why are you paying this guy this much money? All you saw was him in high school. I don't get it. And then the whole product sucks. Let's review every play. Well, that tells me that you don't trust the referees. The referee who's 3 feet away can't call the guy inbounds or out of bounds. Your stupid rules is it a catch? You got to complete the process of hitting the ground. So I could take 25 steps and then fall and the ball hits the ground and it's incomplete. But I caught it and I ran 20 yards with it. If he catches the ball, it's a catch. Pure and simple. The surviving the ground is bullshit. It's not part of it. Did you catch it? I mean, the ball's thrown. Did you catch it? I caught it. Okay, that's it. Then that's the end of the discussion. You caught the ball. Did you have your feet inbounds or out? Well, the ref's right there. If the ref can't call it from 3 feet away, why is he out there? Oh, wait, we need female refs. Why do we need female? Are they any good? I saw a female ref throw a flag, and I was like, oh, great. Now she wants to get on TV. Like I say, it's like Vegas. Well, we can charge for parking and resort fee. No, there's no market for it. You can't do it. People will get pissed and not come. If we're running a restaurant and I sell a hamburger for $10, I get people that buy it. Oh, we can sell it for 20. They'll still buy it. No, they won't. I raise it to 20. I get no customers. At least I'd be smart enough not to do that. And if I did, I'd lower it back to $10 saying, no, you can't do it. You can maybe go from 10 to 11. You can't go from 10 to 20. Hey, why don't we charge for parking at our restaurant? And we'll charge a resort fee, which is them sitting at the table. We'll charge them $5 to sit at our table. We'll charge $10 for them to park in the parking lot. We'll add a tax if they get a drink. Although they charge like $3 for a Coke now. It's like, I used to, when my kids were young, I'd say, I'll go buy you a 2-liter. Don't drink at the restaurants because it'd be like $3 for a glass. I said, here's the Coke, which you shouldn't be eating anyway. So there's no demand. And what you're doing is you're charging for parking. You're charging for the table. That's what college football is doing. Oh, well, we don't trust the refs, so we're going to have replay on every down. There's an injury. We'll go for 10 minutes of commercials. Too many commercials. You're stopping the flow and action of the game. If you're watching a movie, you don't want a commercial. At a key part. What did I talk about? I've got 24 on my disc. And I can at least watch that with no commercials, and it just goes through and it shows the clock, and then the clock. I don't lose the control of it. Or as my favorite would be during sex. Imagine you're doing sex, and all of a sudden you stop. Wait, we got to do a commercial. Let's sit down for 5 minutes. Okay, now we'll go back to it. Like, really? No, I don't think it'd be as enjoyable as not having a commercial. And so that's what you're doing with football. All these breaks, and then the punt. Oh, let's have a commercial. See, what's different is baseball, the inning ends, so you have a break. Okay, have commercials. You don't have commercials in the middle. Okay, it's a 3-2 count. Let's go to a 3-minute commercial. I mean, come on. The instant replay in baseball is ridiculous. Should not be. There should not be any instant replay. Because of the nature of your beast, you're having refs who are human ref the game. And if he sees the foot stepped in bounds, great. If he sees it stepped out of bounds, great. You live by the call. Go watch 1974 Rose Bowl, 75, 76. O.J. Simpson, watch the 69 Rose Bowl. They seem to get all the calls right. I don't know what line to gain means. It's the first down marker. Did he get the first down or not? Why did you change it to line to gain? What does that mean? See, the socialists do that where they change, they take down statues, they change history, they change wordings. I don't know why. I don't know what it has to do with anything, but why do you call it the line to gain? And then the best is now they have this 2-minute warning, but they don't call it the 2-minute warning. It's the 2-minute break, I guess, lunch break. I don't know. What the fuck are they doing? So it's really, really frustrating and different. But there's no market for it. And as we know, if you do not have a market, it's fucked. You can't force a market. Businesses do that when interest rates are zero. It's called a malinvestment. So we'll do a store or we'll do a product. Let's do electric cars that nobody wants. I think they're a little more popular in China, but it's only because they're probably a lot cheaper. And it's probably so crowded there. And there's not a billion people there. It's like 800 million. And you've chased out a lot, but probably because everything was so expensive there that electric cars were much cheaper. So that's why it worked there. Here, it doesn't work. And electric cars are a joke and a waste of time. And go find a charging station. Good luck with that one. A product that is not, there's no market for it. There's a small market, and you're pricing them more expensive than the regular cars. I don't get it. Profit, the best new term I've heard recently is on YT, YouTube, I guess. You can't say a person is dead. You have to say that they are unalive. What is YT? Is that YouTube? I can't say a person's dead. They're not alive. What's the difference? Well, I just said it. I've never had a problem. I don't say a lot of dead things, but I don't know. We'll see. Unalive. Yeah, see, why do they change the names? And the other thing is, it'll be Joe Smith Jr. or Joe Smith the third. Who cares? His name's Joe Smith. I don't care if he's the junior or the third or the fourth or whatever. Unalive, dead. All right. So that's what a malinvestment is. People make things because it's cheap, even though they don't know if there's a market for it. And that's why a lot of stuff go away. When you look at the restaurants that went away, they've killed the quality of the food. McDonald's food isn't even food anymore. Most of the stuff in the grocery store in the cans have high fructose corn syrup. Coke used to have sugar, now has high fructose corn syrup, which is terrible for you. And it tastes terrible, but it preserves the food longer. So you've got to be very careful what you're buying in the grocery store that's canned or ketchup or barbecue sauce. All that has high fructose corn syrup because it can't sit on the shelf. So it preserves the food longer, but the taste is shit. And the high fructose corn syrup is terrible for you. That's why people are getting cancer and dying of fructose corn syrup. So you got to be careful with that. Am I losing my feet again? Jesus Christ. All right. So there was a YouTube thing I was watching with Stossel. And this is very good. Yeah, we don't care about nation in decline. Okay, so this is Johan, whatever. This guy's a very good economist from like Sweden or something. And he keeps saying Sweden's not socialist, it's capitalist. We have free markets. Basically, that's what it is, free markets, not the restrictions that government puts on. And I just watched this. Now, it's a long one. I'm not going to play the whole thing. But Let's go to about the 17-minute mark. And he talks about like countries. And what happens is they are capitalism, free markets, gold backed currency, and they get very strong. And the biggest reason Rome was Rome, it was a peasant village initially. And then they allowed free trade and gold backed currency. And that's when it thrived. The idea of free trade is to learn and see what's out there. It makes you more productive. In other words, when I teach you about gold and silver, you're more productive. You go, oh, shit, I'll go buy gold and silver and get rid of the dollars. You've learned that. I've taught it to you. So that gives you uh, more production. You're more highly productive, if I can say it right, because you've learned. You didn't know it before. Now you do. And now you're reaping the rewards. Oh, I bought silver at $25 an ounce. It's 75. I'm worth more. I can relax more. My gold that I bought at 1900 when you told me is now 4,500. And it's going up and up and up. And so I'm teaching you that. And then your well-being's better. You're better off because I taught it to you. I explain why. And that's a big part. So when people come in and they start trading with other countries, the other countries might be good at certain things that you're not, and you learn about that. It could be medicine, it could be writing, it could be building a boat, it could be, oh, why don't you try fishing this way? Or we have guns and you're using bow and arrows. So there's a lot you learn by free trade, trading with other countries, you learn, and that increases your productivity, which is what happened in Rome. And then by having free trade, they're able to get better ships and better roads and better armies. And they even had the sewer system and fresh water. They did all that from learning from other countries that they were taking over. But then you get the handout. So we're all successful. And then we've grown and we have this very good economy. Oh, the people, we got to feed them. And then it becomes the welfare state, which is what's happening now. And everybody wears, Social Security, first of all, we paid in, should be ours. It should go into a professor's account. Give me my money, and that should be it. Why is the government taking it? That was a mistake. But generally, now you get more people on welfare. Give me Social Security. Give me food. Give me clothes. Give me whatever. Well, people should earn it, right? Not get it for free. Then once you start getting it for free, you can't get rid of it, right? You can't. It's hard to say no. It's hard to say you can't have this, you can't have that. So therefore, it ends up where welfare becomes too strong, as we have here. And then you have to borrow to keep the welfare going, which is why your debt's so high. And then you have all these government employees where you can't really get rid of them. So the costs are way too high. And then you collapse, which is what's happening now, because you got to keep printing money to take care of the, not freeloaders, but the people who are getting something. You're giving them money for food. Oh, it's a nice thought, but it doesn't work. There's no money to give you, but they won't take it away. So you can see the riots in the UK and in France and Germany, probably. Brussels had riots. So you can see what's happening. If you try to take Social Security, they'll kill you. So, or the government jobs or anything like that. So that's what happens to a country. They end up, and it's not phases like Ray Dalio says, it's this phase, that phase. No. This is what happens. This isn't a phase. It's not any particular time. It's the fact you went to it. So you're very strong. You start handing out things, but you can't stop handing them out. More people want something for nothing. And then it makes you go broke because you have to keep printing it. There's no way you can stop it. That's where we're at now. We're printing money to pay for all these free things. and you kill the money and it's worthless. And the only people that survive are people that buy gold and silver physically because we realize the money's worthless and you can't get out of it. You're just going to keep printing and printing and printing because you have all these massive expenses to do. So then you let other people in the country and you pay for them. You don't have money to pay for it at all. Sounds like Starmer. They're all bringing in the immigrants so they'll vote for them because they want to keep their power, even though they don't realize the dollar's worthless. So that's what happens, and that's what ends the empire. The empire ended because of inflation. They took the gold and silver out of the currency. I'm talking the Romans. And that was it. As soon as that was it, everybody wanted the free handouts, the bread and the stuff. And the next thing you knew, they had no more money. And here come the Ottomans came and said, "Thank you, we'll take it." The army, you couldn't pay them, wasn't going to fight. So you run out of money is the backbone of your country. Strong money works. Like I said, free trade, so you can learn and you can get things that you can't make. Germany has no oil in Germany. They need to trade for it. And apparently, like they get their natural gas from Russia because they don't have it. So they have to trade. So anyway, that's the problem. But the U.S., to pay for all their handouts, either print the money or they go to war to try to steal oil and gold from Venezuela, from Iran, from Ukraine, all about trying to get, it's because you're broke and you're invading to try to steal stuff. That's what a war is. Fantastic, isn't it? All right, let's listen to this guy, Norbert, somebody very good. He's an Austrian like we are, or he's very capitalism, very conservative. He's very good. He explains it well. We'll go through about 5-10 minutes of this.
So many things into motion, and there are so many things that we talk about today that has its origins in the Roman Empire. And that's a reason to think of it, perhaps more often than we do.
I suspect men are mostly interested in the military.
We often think of warfare, the fact that they were brutal warriors, and they were, but so were everybody else. What made the Romans different? The difference was that they weren't just efficient warriors. They also constantly absorbed new talent, new ideas, new technologies from other places. They were experts when it came to strategic tolerance. They gave people among the subjected the ability to have a second career in Rome. They made them citizens and allowed them to do business, to have a career in the military, even in the Senate. Some of the subjected peoples could even end up being emperors of Rome. That's how Rome constantly renewed itself with fresh blood.
The conquered, some became emperors?
It happened. Some of the immigrants, some of the conquered, even the son of a freed slave eventually ended up on the throne of Rome. And that tells you something about the power of meritocracy and of openness. You'll get the best brains if you're open to more people. They always learned new technologies, new business models from other groups. And that wasn't because they were kind of decent, kind, open-minded. That was because tolerance was a weapon, often literally a weapon. They got their Spanish swords from the Spaniards. They got their ships from Carthage. They learned constantly about how to arm themselves, how to organize their legions by other peoples. And therefore, step by step, they always learned, they always acquired new capacity, and therefore they could become the masters of the world.
They also had like running water and sewage treatment for the first time. Can you talk about some of those practical things that help me understand what was golden about Rome?
Because Rome was such a huge integrated free trade area. You could source the best material, the best technology from any part of the empire. So you could come up with the best way of producing concrete, for example. And then you could build ports, you could build amazing buildings like the Parthenon, the biggest unreinforced dome ever, and they could build aqueducts, bringing in fresh water to Rome from other parts of the empire. Amazing aqueducts that still stands to this day. And according to historians who Look at this. The access to fresh water, the ways of building paved roads, even things like fire services was something that Europe would not have again for some 1,500 years.
But then Rome too, Phil.
The YouTube Music app has ad-free playlists just for your ears.
But then Rome too, Phil.
Yes, and ever since we've thought about why that happened, and people always want their own favorite explanation. One German historian collected all the reasons that have been mentioned for the fall of Rome in the 1980s, and he came up with more than 200 causes of the fall of Rome. So perhaps we have even too many explanations for it. But to me, it's quite obvious that Rome fell just like, Ernest Hemingway has a bankruptcy in two ways. First, gradually, and then suddenly. It wasn't just about barbarians invading Rome in the 5th century. It was because the Romans had already weakened their empire for a very long time. And one way in which they did that was that they abandoned their ideas of having much of local self-determination and freedom. And instead, they began to centralize their empire to the capital, to the emperor, who became much more of a military dictator, basically. And he started to control economic relationships. He started to tax people more viciously. He started to debase the coinage and unleash inflation, and then impose price controls to try to get rid of this. And that failed. So all of these things meant that Rome, instead of having so many different provinces, so many different power centers, and also engines of growth and of innovation, instead they had a single point of failure. The emperor, whenever he began to lose out for some reason, it meant that you didn't have that local capacity, that you didn't have a plan B to sort of keep it going. And then it became the victim of invasions from all sides.
In the United States, the Speaker of the House of Representatives blames homosexuality.
Many historians would look back and give some credit to the fall of Rome to not only the deprivation of the society, but also to the rampant, homosexual behavior that was condoned by the society.
Which begs the question why it took 1,000 years of rampant homosexual behavior to end the Roman experiment.
You say entitlement spending played a big role.
The concept of bread and circuses, the emperors wanted to become popular by handing out free stuff to people. Originally, this started small. You just handed the very poor means of subsistence, make sure that they would survive. But that group was enlarged because it was popular. You want free olive oil or even free bread. So the group that lived on the public's expense grew larger all the time. And emperors complained about this constantly while they were expanding it. Everyone from Caesar and onward said, we've got to reform this system because it means that we have fewer people working and more people consuming. But no one succeeded. Instead, it was expanded all the time, became more and more costly. So the Romans could conquer the world, but they couldn't do entitlement reform.
Once people had their free bread, somebody who threatened to take that away was in trouble.
Yeah, that's not how you become popular. You need to give them, if you want to be popular next time around, you need to give them more bread and more circuses, more gladiators in the arena. That's what they found. Even though they were quite ruthless emperors who weren't elected, they were constantly dependent on the popularity of the populace. They realized that the quickest way to their hearts was through their stomachs.
It just reminds me of what I see in the West now about pensions.
Nationwide protests and strikes against the government's controversial pension reforms.
Even countries that are going broke, they can't raise the retirement age.
It's a very worrying sign in each of these civilizations. Once you have an ever-expanding system of entitlements that you can't afford, then you have to deal with it in different ways. Well, some of them just try to conquer other peoples and take their stuff. But once you run out of that, you have to resort to inflation. Rome started to debase the currency. They had less silver in every coin, which led to spiraling inflation that ruined economic relationships all over the Roman Empire. In a way, inflation was much worse than barbarian invaders. And the solution that they come up with was counterproductive. The Emperor Diocletian, he blamed greedy businessmen for inflation, something that we hear today as well. So he imposed price controls on more than 1,000 goods, from furniture to living lions, and even imposed the death penalty on any merchant that increased the price above a certain level. But obviously it all failed because he kept debasing the currency. So inflation kept going, prices kept rising. It only happened in the shadow economy and undermined the Roman Empire completely.
Too many commercials.
The Roman Empire completely.
Some people will be surprised to hear Muslims had a golden age.
The Islamic Empire made incredible advances in science, and many of these discoveries have shaped our modern world, giving us things like cataract surgery and algebra.
In the 9th century, the leading civilization on the planet when it came to science, technology, and freedom was actually the Muslim Empire, the Abbasid dynasty with its capital in Baghdad. They had created a huge free trade area from North Africa to Central Asia and Afghanistan.
The Arabs got rid of Roman numerals and went to the numbers we use today.
The Arab civilization was a very commercial one, where merchants were treated with lots of respect. Muhammad was a merchant, so they constantly traded, and they were allowed to have flexible prices that weren't regulated, and that gave them lots of wealth, but it also made them interested in finding better ways, more efficient ways to deal with risk, with calculations. So they abandoned the traditional numeral system and came up with the Arabic numerals, which are the ones that we use, Arabic Indian numerals, which makes all forms of addition, subtraction, any kind of business much, much easier. And that's what Italian merchants learned when they were trading with the Arabs. Very different from many Muslim countries today in the way that they were tolerant. They were open to new ideas. They invited scholars and thinkers from other countries, Christians and Jews and of other Muslim denominations. At that time, they translated all the books they could lay their hands on from ancient Greece and onwards, because they thought that the best way to acquire more ideas, more capacity in everything from astronomy to how to do business was to learn from others. And the best way to prove them wrong was to have an open debate about it if they were mistaken.
So, I mean, it's, if you get an idea and somebody gives you a good idea, you should follow it. There's nothing wrong with it. It doesn't have to be your idea. So when I teach you the dollar's worthless, buy gold and silver, that's an idea. You learn from me. You learn, hey, that's he knows what he's talking about. That's a good idea, and I'll do it. If I give you a bad idea, does it make sense to you? You go, no, I don't like that, but I do like this. And that's what I try to teach you with football and obviously with money. Inflation, I'm telling you what it really is. Most people don't know. They think it's prices. It's just simply the dollar loses value because it's printed to death. Or in Rome, they took all the gold and silver out of their coins, which made the coins worthless. So that's why I watch a lot of YouTube to try to learn, but then I find most of the time either I already know it or they don't know it. Oh, and then cause inflation, the prices are going up. And I go, no, that's not what inflation is. That frustrates me a lot, but I am open to listen to it. So I think if you want to watch this, this is Lessons from Ancient Rome on Stossel. There's one other one I want to show you just a little bit. This Asian guy who I don't know. He gives apples and oranges but in the first few
Have you heard of this
minutes,
brand new
we'll
product
play
that
it
instantly cleans toilets without any scrubbing? Take any dirty toilet.
mostly so I can
That is currently being strangled by
teach you. But basically, I tell you, and then this is like another thought, and you're going, yeah, okay, that makes sense. So we know the dollar is worthless. We know they have to keep printing the dollar instead of having it backed by gold. This is the real problem. The dollar is not backed by anything. Neither is the euro or the Swiss franc or the British pound or the Canadian or any of the African countries or China and Russia. They're starting to come out with gold-backed currency in January, but this is the problem. The dollars are basically worthless, but they mislead everybody into thinking they have value, and it's wrong. I teach you about Bitcoin because Bitcoin's worthless because it's not backed by anything. I told you I was playing poker, I think at Caesars many years ago when Bitcoin was $5, $10, $20, whatever. And somebody asked me about it. And I said, what do you think of Bitcoin? They knew I was an economist. What do you think of Bitcoin? And I said, what's it backed by? Nothing. Then I don't want it because the critical point of this and of this is basically what are they backed by? What's it worth? Is it worth anything? Just having a number on it, calling it a 20 or a 50 or 100 doesn't mean it's worth anything. And as you can see, and I showed you that other video, 1971, it was $1 bought you 2 packs of cigarettes, or $1 bought you 3 gallons of gas is now, $10 for cigarettes now. Now a lot of that's taxes, but there was other like milk, or McDonald's was 50, 60 cents for a burger is now $5. It just shows you that the value, even though it's $5, doesn't buy you as much. Where $5 would buy you, let's say it's 50 cents for McDonald's, would buy you 10 hamburgers. Now the $5 buys you 1, maybe. And so you're understanding the value of what's the problem. And that's where we get into the Titanic. It hit an iceberg. That's the problem. What's going to happen? The water's going to come in the boat. And then the boat's going to sink. And how do I survive? You get into a lifeboat. And so we carry that to the dollar. It's not backed by anything. They're printing it. It's not worth anything. They keep printing it. That's the water coming in. We're going to drown, which we're just about there. And our goal is buy physical gold and silver, not paper gold and silver. So people might buy gold and silver. They're buying the paper. They're buying the options. They don't know what they're doing. Buy physical. But people, they're not open-minded enough to, as they're talking about free trade, you've got to be open-minded to find somebody who knows what they're talking about and listening to them. Okay, you found me. I still am open-minded with other sources if I believe what I'm saying. And I'm not saying I'm the only person. You can find others, but be careful. They've got to understand it the way I do, or in that hemisphere, not a Keynesian guy who says, oh, we can print all the money we want. And then you're not learning anything from him. He's telling you things that are wrong. He can't explain it. Well, what do you mean we can print all the dollars we want? Oh, yeah, we're the reserve currency. We can. What does that have to do with that? Explain how the reserve currency allows you to print all the money you want. Because there's a limit to how much money you can print, no matter if you're the reserve currency or not. If it's not backed by gold, you can't just print as much money as you want. And that's where we're at now. These idiots think, oh, we'll just keep printing and printing and printing and nothing can happen. No, it's called massive hyperinflation, and it makes your money worthless, and nobody wants it, and there's no demand for it, and you're broke. And it's happened 1,000 times in history. It keeps happening. The Germans in 23, the Romans, the French, the English in the 20s, 1920s, and Zimbabwe and Venezuela and Argentina, Brazil, all, and they name a country, they have probably inflation, hyperinflation, and their money's not worth anything because it's not backed by anything. But that's what BRICS is doing. And you can if you just look at that going, why are they getting all the gold? Why are they coming out with gold-backed currency? Why are they trading in gold? And then because they understand that. So that'll help you go, yeah, if they're doing it, why would the Russians and the Chinese do it if it wasn't the right move? So that helps you understand what's going on. And then I try to explain the paper physical difference because there's much more limited physical than paper. And that's why we get after JP Morgan, because they're the biggest crooks in the world, but they're running our government to death. I mean, they're running our country to the ground. And they're killing it. So here's Mr. Fuji a little bit. He's AI. I don't know if to trust him or not. In this instance, what he says, I agree with. Sometimes he says it and I don't agree with him. So I really don't know how to take him. And since he's not real, AI is really not good because AI just takes assumptions and you don't really know if it's truthful or not. That's the problem with AI. So we'll listen to about 2 or 3 minutes of this.
A liquidity crisis, the likes of which we have not seen in 40 years. If you want to know the real price of silver, if you want to know the price that the industrial giants are paying, you have to look 5,000 miles to the east. You have to look at Shanghai. Right now, as we speak, the physical silver market in China is trading at a premium that converts to roughly $100 an ounce. Do you understand the magnitude of this disconnect? There is a $25 gap between the price in New York and the price in China. In the professional trading world, we don't call this a spread. We call this a broken market. A $25 gap is an arbitrage opportunity so massive that it acts like a black hole. It sucks every available ounce of silver out of the West and sends it to the East. In this emergency market update, we are going to dissect the China $100 phenomenon. We are going to explain why the paper market in the US is lagging so far behind the physical reality in Asia. We are going to look at the massive arbitrage flows that are currently draining the comex vaults dry. And we are going to tell you why the price in New York has no choice but to rocket higher to close this gap. The dam is broken. The East has set the price, and the West is about to panic. This is the story of the $25 vacuum. To understand why this is happening, you have to understand the difference between spot and street. In New York, the spot price is $74.59. This is the price of a futures contract. It is a paper promise. It assumes that there is infinite silver available, but in China, the market is physical. Solar manufacturers need silver paste. Electric vehicle companies need silver contacts. Citizens need silver bars for wealth preservation. They do not want paper, they want atoms. And when millions of buyers compete for a limited supply of atoms, the price disconnects from the paper market. It goes vertical. The reports we are seeing indicate that while the official Shanghai Gold Exchange spot price is trading around $78, the premiums charged by dealers, refiners, and middlemen have exploded. To get immediate delivery of industrial-grade silver in Shenzhen today, you're paying close to $100. This proves that the inventory is gone. When the price rises $25 above the global benchmark, it means there is a localized famine. China is starving for silver. And because they are starving, they are willing to pay any price to feed the factory lines. This creates a massive problem for the Western banks. The banks are short silver in New York at $74, but the metal is flowing to China at $100. They cannot cover their shorts because the physical metal is fleeing the country. They are trying to suppress a beach ball that is being pulled upward by a giant magnet. Let's do the math on the arbitrage trade. This is the mechanism that will force the US price to rise. If you are a global bullion dealer, you have a choice. You can sell a bar of silver in New York for $74, or you can put it on a plane, fly it to Shanghai, and sell it for $100. The cost of shipping and insurance is maybe 50 cents. The profit is $25. This is a risk-free trade. It is an infinite money glitch. So, what is happening right now? Every available bar in London, Zurich, and New York is being allocated for export. The vaults are being swept clean. There's a giant sucking sound coming from the east. As this metal leaves the west, the local supply in New York drops to zero. When supply hits zero, the price in New York must... Supply hits zero, the price in New York must rise. It has to rise until it becomes too expensive to ship it to China. It has to rise until the gap closes. This means the US price has a mathematical destiny to hit $100. It is not speculation, it is hydrodynamics. Water finds its level. And right now, the level is 100. We need to talk about the decoupling. For 50 years, the comex in New York set the global price. If silver dropped in New York, it dropped in China. That relationship is dead. China is now the price setter. New York is the price taker. China consumes the metal. New York trades the paper. The consumer always sets the final price. If Samsung and BYD are willing to pay $100, then silver is worth $100. It doesn't matter what JP Morgan says on a computer screen. The real price is the price at which a transaction occurs. And transactions are occurring at triple digits. This realization is starting to hit the Western traders. Look at the chart today. Silver is up $3.40. Why? Because the traders realized that $71 was a gift. They realized that if they don't buy now, the metal will be gone. They are chasing the Chinese price. This is the catch-up trade. We saw this with natural gas in Europe a few years ago. We saw it with palladium. When a regional shortage develops, the global price snaps upward to match the highest bidder. We are in the middle of that snap. Now, let's look at the dealer reaction in the US. If the price in China is $100, why are US dealers selling for less? The answer is, they aren't. Go to a dealer site right now. Look at the premiums on a silver eagle. Spot is 74. The eagle is likely 90 or 95. The physical market in the US is already pricing in the China move. Only the paper market is lagging. This confirms that the disconnect is purely a financial phenomenon. The banks are using algorithms to hold the paper price down. While the physical world is transacting at much higher levels, this tension cannot last. Eventually, the paper market breaks. The shorts capitulate. And the price gaps up to meet reality. We are watching the last days of the $70 range. Let's discuss the industrial panic driving this. Why is China paying $100? Is it a bubble? No, it is inelastic demand. China controls the solar panel industry. They have production to meet before the end of the year. If a factory manager runs out of silver paste, he shuts down. The cost of shutting down a gigafactory is millions of dollars a day. So, if the silver price jumps to $100, he pays it. He doesn't care. The cost of the silver is tiny compared to the cost of the failure. This is why industrial demand sets the floor. Investors might sell at $100 to take a profit. Industry buys at $100 to stay alive. The floor is moving up because the desperation is moving up. We also have to consider the currency war. The Chinese yuan is weakening slightly against the dollar, but silver in yuan terms is exploding. This creates a safe haven bid inside China. Chinese citizens are seeing their property market collapse. They are seeing their stock market wobble. They are rushing into gold and silver to protect their savings. This retail mania in China is layering on top of the industrial panic. It is a dual-engine rocket. So, what happens next? The arbitrage gap is $25. New York is trading at a 30% discount to Shanghai. This is the biggest discount in history. It creates a massive opportunity for the U.S. investor. You can buy silver in the U.S. for $74, knowing that the true value in the physical market is already $100. You are buying dollars for 74 cents. But this window is closing fast. The arbitrage bots are working. The ships are loading. The inventory is moving. Once the vaults in New York are empty, the price will reset overnight. We could see a limit up move that takes us straight to $80, then $85. The market is trying to find equilibrium, and equilibrium is much, much higher. In the next section of this deep dive, we are going to look at the bank reaction. How do the short sellers survive a $100 price in China? Do they double down or do they fold? We are going to analyze the open interest data to see if the banks are covering. And we are going to look at the...
All right, we'll get to that in a second. So everybody understands. So basically, it becomes supply demand. Very limited supply, very strong demand. And what inelastic means is they have to buy at whatever price because they have to have the silver to complete a phone or a computer or a solar panel or whatever. They have to have silver. There's no substitute. There's no substitute. They got to buy it at anything or it shuts down the plant because then they can't finish the good, whatever the good is, the phone, the computer, the laptop, whatever. So therefore, right now it's $100. So when we're looking at COMEX at 75, 76, that's a bullshit price. As I've been saying all along, that's the paper price. That's why you'll see in my target, in my title, I'll go paper gold, paper silver, because it's not physical. Physical is much higher. And even the $100 is bullshit because they're going off of the $75. Once you clean off and get rid of COMEX, you'll start seeing 500, 1,000, and that's where I get that from. Anytime you have very strong demand and no supply, the only way you get in any silver is to raise the price because we have the supply. Me and you guys, we have silver, right? I don't know. Maybe we have a ton of it, and maybe we have 32,000 ounces between all of us. But it's sitting it's sitting with us. Oh, you need it, Mr. Sunbeam or Mr. BD or whatever these companies are. Oh, you need it. Oh, okay. Well, all right. Let me hear 1,000. when you hit the right price, we'll sell you a few ounces, but we don't want to sell it because we know it's way too cheap. I could have given them one for Christmas when I got the ribs at the boneyard, the barbecue place. He would have taken it. He's smart. And I said, no. I said, I give it up at 70 when it's going to 1,000 and it's going past 1,000. Because when you use silver, it uses up. Gold doesn't use up. You can't destroy gold, right? But you can destroy silver. When the Tomahawk missile explodes, and that was 500 ounces of silver, it's gone. It's not, you can't like go claim it and melt it down and everything. It's gone. So you keep running out of silver. There's not that much in the first place, but the more they're doing, the more the demand is. It's needed, and you can't substitute. This AI stuff, I guess, electrical stuff, it needs silver, and you can't use copper or nickel or zinc. So therefore, you must have silver, and it's very limited. Plus, it's a double hit. Us economists, financial types who want to get out of the dollar, we need silver. The people running these factories, they need silver. There's not that much of it. And so we go and run and buy it, and they buy it. I go to my guy's store who still looks at comex. He doesn't understand the $100. He sees comex at 76. He's like, well, okay, I'll sell it to you for 77. And I'm like, doing, like I said, I do cartwheels out the store. I'm so happy I got it so cheap. And because I go to the store, there's no shipping. I don't have to wait for the mail or worry about that. I go, I pick what I want. I give them money and off I go. Nobody knows I got it. No taxes on it. It's perfect. It's the perfect thing. So that's what we know. And we've known that since 1995, right? When I learned it. So I was smart enough to learn it and listen in class because I had an Austrian economist teacher, right? So he was an Austrian. He taught me. And so I'm listening. I'm smart enough to listen. And I'm smart enough to then share with you, hey, this is what's really going on, guys. This is what you got to do. This is why it's going on. So you have it. Like I told Bobby when he tells his daughter, well, I can't go to the grocery store with gold and silver. It's like, well, you're not going to be able to go with dollars anymore because that's worthless. So, that's like saying I got a Rolex watch. I can't go to the grocery store with a Rolex or a Picasso. Well, that doesn't mean you shouldn't own it. It just means you want to get out the dollars. So that's the whole key to it. So what you're seeing now is the demand for physical, which really wasn't around. So as we've evolved and now we've got the phones and the AI and everything, and it needs silver. So in 2010, people could use the chart and say, oh, this is what silver does, and 50 is the all-time high. We've created much more physical demand for it. And now we have the dollar being worthless, creating much more physical demand from us buying it to get out of dollars and them buying it for their industrial. There's not enough left. The price has to go up. Why would it drop? Why would there be a correction? Why would anybody profit take? You cannot be stupid and profit take. This is the wrong thing to get out of. You're just getting in. You're in a hot tub. The water is just filling up and it's nice and warm. Why would you get out of it? You'd let the water come. So it's the same thing here. Why would you get out of silver and gold? Because if you do, you're getting back into this shit, which is worthless monopoly money. Which, I went to the grocery store the other day or yesterday, I think, and it was like $50, and I got apples and avocados and some stuff. I didn't even get my eggs and milk. I already had my half and half of it. So it was just buying snacks and food because I bought some chicken. I'll cook later, but it's $50, which should cost me 10, is $50 now. The chicken's the little family pack, like 5 breasts, and it was like $10, $11. It's like, it's like $2, $3 a pound. It should be like 30 cents. So that's the thing. It's really not the price going up. It's that the dollar's worth less. So it takes more dollars to buy the same chicken or cookies or crackers or whatever to get it. That's really what it is. And That's what you need to understand. So there's never profit taking in our class. It makes no sense. You do get out of it if you need go on a vacation or you have a bill that you need to pay. You might sell it for that as you would sell a Mantle card or a Bobby Orr card or some asset, a Rolex. You might sell your Rolex if you need 40 grand to pay a bill or buy a house or go on a nice vacation and buy a car. Then you would sell it for an asset, right? You want to sell it for assets. This is not an asset. This is toilet paper, monopoly money. So you don't really want to sell for this. So you get 50 grand. What good's the 50 grand? It's not worth anything. You just giving up 50 grand of real money for 50 grand of worthless money. So again, we see what's happening. We see the demand for physical is going to the moon. And therefore the price has to go up because there's not enough supply. It's the basic number one rule I'm teaching you in economics. You do not have enough supply to cater the demand, and therefore the demand still needs it. They will pay more for it. There was one video he does where somebody needs it to keep his plant open, and he says he charges, he asked for, I'll give you $200. I got to keep the plant open. I'll give you $200 for silver. And they said no. So now we're about to see $300-$400 silver. And it's here. It's not comex and they're doing derivatives. We are killing the derivative market. It's gone. There is no more comex because there's no point in keeping the price down because now I need silver and I need a ton. I don't need, we buy 10, 20 ounces. No, we need a ton of silver to cover our phones and our solar panels and whatever the hell else we need it for. And then we got us who say, oh, I got to get out of my dollar. Here's 20 grand. Give me silver. I need it no matter what. And that's really what you're getting into is that. So I want you to understand that. And silver doesn't last. Once you use it up, it's gone. This you can't use up. And that's the difference why people like gold over silver. You can't destroy gold. You can destroy silver. And gold's the main character, and silver's like the go with the co-guy, right? The co-pilot. All right, let's look a little bit more. He's about to talk about banks, so let's see what banks say.
Year-end squeeze. With 1 day left in the year, the pressure to close the gap is immense. The setup for tomorrow, New Year's Eve, is explosive. The East has spoken. The price is $100. Now, the West has to listen. Let's see how they respond. We need to talk about the banks, the entities that are short this market, the entities that have spent 40 years telling us that silver is abundant. Right now, they're staring at a screen that shows a $100 price in Shanghai and a $74 price in New York. And they are realizing that they are on the wrong side of the most violent trade in history. Usually, banks love arbitrage. If a bank sees a $5 gap between markets, they step in. They buy the cheap one, sell the expensive one, and pocket the difference. It is their bread and butter. But today, the banks are paralyzed. Why? Because to capture the arbitrage, you need physical metal. You cannot ship a short contract to China. You have to ship a bar. And the banks don't have the bars. They leased them out. They sold them. They rehypothecated them. The vaults in London, which used to be the overflowing stockpile of the West, are running on fumes. So the banks cannot close the gap. Instead, the gap is closing them. Every time a trader in Shanghai bids the price up to $100, it acts like a margin call on the New York short seller. The global price is rising, dragging the COMEX liability up with it. The banks are bleeding out. They're losing millions of dollars an hour on the mark-to-market value of their short positions. This forces a change in strategy. For decades, the strategy was cap and contain, sell paper to keep the price down. Today, the strategy is survive and exit. We are seeing signs of massive short covering. The banks are not adding new shorts to stop the rally. They are buying back their old shorts to get out of the way. Look at the open interest. It is dropping. When price goes up and open interest goes down, it means shorts are leaving the building. They are admitting defeat. They're handing the keys of the market over to the bulls. This removes the ceiling. Without the heavy hand of the bank suppressing the price, silver is free to float to its natural level. And as China has shown us, that natural level is $100. Let's discuss the concept of the widowmaker trade. In finance, a widowmaker is a trade that looks smart but destroys anyone who touches it. shorting Japanese bonds was a widowmaker. Right now, shorting silver is the ultimate widowmaker. Why would anyone stay short when the physical market is trading at a 30% premium? It is suicide. The only people still short are the ones who cannot get out. The entities that are too big to exit without spiking the price to $200. They are trapped in a burning theater with a door the size of a mouse hole. Their only hope is that demand collapses. But as we discussed, demand is inelastic. Samsung isn't stopping. This creates a powder keg. If one major short holder decides to panic, if they decide to buy back everything at market price to save themselves, we get a flash melt up. We saw a preview of this on Monday. We could see a day where silver moves $10 or $20 just because one bank decided to survive at the expense of the others. There is no honor among thieves during a liquidity crisis. Now let's look at the calendar. Tomorrow is Wednesday, December 31st, New Year's Eve, the final trading day of 2025. This is the most critical closing bell of the year. Why is tomorrow so important? Bonuses. Portfolio managers are paid based on their performance as of December 31st. If they are long silver, they want the price to close at the absolute highs. They want to mark their books at $75 or $80. This creates a massive incentive for window dressing. Funds will be buying tomorrow. They will be painting the tape. They want to push the price up into the close to maximize their fees and their reputation. Look at us. We own the best asset of the year. This institutional buying pressure acts as a tailwind. It means the dip is unlikely to happen tomorrow. The big money is incentivized to buy, not sell. And remember the tax selling we talked about yesterday? That ends tomorrow. Once the tax year closes, the selling pressure evaporates completely. So you have funds trying to push the price up and sellers disappearing. That is the recipe for a breakout. We could easily see silver challenge the $77 level by the time the ball drops in Times Square. Let's talk about the dealer capitulation. We mentioned the premiums earlier, but there is another phenomenon happening. Dealers are starting to buy back silver at above spot. Usually, if you sell your coins to a dealer, they pay you spot minus $1. Today, many dealers are offering spot plus $2 or spot plus $5. They're desperate for inventory. They're calling their customers and asking, do you want to sell? This is the reverse squeeze. The dealers are becoming buyers because they have depleted their stock and the refiners are closed. When the buyback price is...
So look for this in gold as we're talking. Gold, 4,500, the dealer will give me 97%. But when gold hits this level, he'll be giving you spot plus. So let's say $5,000. It's not going to be 5,000 times 0.97. It's going to be 5,000 either even or plus maybe 1 or 2%. So you might get 5,050 for the $5,000 gold. So hold your gold for that. Not that we're going to sell the gold, but you can see when they need inventory, they'll pay more. And I told him that. He says, well, it's 97. I says, yeah, but soon you'll be paying me to buy my gold, which I know the demand will kick it up and the supply's not there, especially with what's going on in China and Russia and India. I mean, how much is going to be here in the U.S.? And be careful for counterfeit. Make sure you trust the person you're buying it from. Make sure you take a magnet and make sure it does not stick. It sticks, you walk out. If it doesn't stick, you haven't put it on the machine, and then he proves it, and then you go, okay, I can buy from you. Because their reputation, if it's a bigger gold store, his reputation's on the line. He can't be a cheat. He can't, oh, I'm selling counterfeit money, and he'll go to jail. So he won't do that. So if you get a reputable guy, like my guy I've been buying from years, and it's no magnet, no, it's fine. So I know it's good. And usually I'm buying Liberties, Maple Leafs, Cougarans. So I'm buying stuff that I know is good, not even the James Bond in that one movie From Russia with Love. He gives the guy 50 gold sovereigns. Well, he's got sovereigns at the store. They don't say what they are. They're like a third of an ounce. So it's like there's the quarter ounce, the half ounce. This is like a third of an ounce of gold, but it doesn't say gold on it. So you really don't know it's gold. But even that I'd be careful with because, you want to use this. It's 1 ounce, 999 gold. It might not say 999 on all of them, but if it's 1 ounce pure gold, you're not worried about 999 because it's 1 ounce of gold, which is all you care about. So that's the thing. So you don't want to get screwed. Do not buy on eBay. Be very careful about people selling it. A $70, an $80 ounce of silver for $40 from China. Yeah, it's not real. Be careful with that. be expecting to pay. If it's $77, you pay $77. Fine. That at least makes sense. But why would you have something worth $77? You're selling it for 35 because it isn't worth 77. Make sure of the value. All right, a little bit more here.
Higher than the spot price. The spot price is irrelevant. It proves that the physical market is tighter than the paper market is admitting. This creates a floor. Why would you sell a contract on the COMEX for $74 when a local dealer will pay you $78 for the real thing? You wouldn't. So the sellers leave the COMEX. They go to the physical market. This drains liquidity from the paper market, making it even more volatile to the upside. We also need to look at the currency pegs. China manages the value of the yuan. By letting silver rise to $100 in China, they are effectively devaluing the yuan against silver. But they are doing it strategically. They are saying, we prefer to hold silver than paper yuan. This is a signal to the Chinese population. Get out of cash. When a government signals inflation, the people listen. We are seeing a rush into hard assets in Asia that dwarfs anything happening in the West. The aunties in China, the retail powerhouse, are buying silver bars. This retail wave is unstoppable. It is 1 billion people moving their savings into metal. The West cannot suppress a market that is being bought by 1 billion people. We are outnumbered, and we are out of metal. Let's look at the technical damage to the bears. The chart is broken for the short sellers. They drew lines at $30, broken. Lines at $50, broken. Lines at $70, broken. Every technical indicator they use to justify selling has failed. The RSI is overbought. Price goes higher. The Bollinger Bands are stretched.
All right, I don't like technical analysis because too many variables have changed. Anyway, so normally I kind of don't know if he's good or bad, but this made sense to me, so I'm okay with it. Did you know if you bury your gold in a lead shielded box, no metal detector will be able to find it? Well, it's probably because they can't because of lead. But yeah, I'm not interested in burying my gold. And unless it's Superman, I'm not worried about lead boxes. Lex Luger or Luthor is coming. So yeah, well, I guess lead lined. If Superman can't see through lead, then yeah, nobody else probably can. Damn, my angel keeps falling. So anyway, yeah, I'm not burying it in the backyard. But so that's it. That's so that explains a lot. They tried to short it to get out of their shorts. That's why it dropped so much Monday, was to try to get out of their shorts, try to get it priced down. And all it did was make this gap even higher. And people are now selling their, they're selling their options of their stock and their dollars for real silver. That's what they're doing in China. Pat was on yesterday and he said that. Says it's $80 now, and there's 6-hour lines. You can't even get it. You got to order it, and there's a wait to get the metal in, the gold and the silver. So there's huge demand in Singapore, and they're running out of supply, and that just makes prices have to go higher. So let's see what happens tomorrow. He's saying the guys want to look good, so they want higher profits. So gold and silver should go, which probably should go today. Should start it. Let's take a look at where we're at. Whew. We're back to 77.43. So whatever happened on Monday is being reversed. And what's today? Tuesday. So look how quickly, again, the stupid games. Gold is 43.64. Again, I don't know why they keep shorting it. The 10 o'clock short, and then it was up to 43.80, 43. This I don't get with gold, but silver you can see 70. We're back to 77. So, like I say, you don't worry about it. It's we're dealing in the physical world in COMEX, and most people are living in the paper world. And so that's the first point you must understand. We're in the physical world. It's very limited. There's huge demand. They need it for all the defense contractors, the cell phones, the solar panel, everything needs silver. And then silver is money. So you need to get out of dollars and get into silver. So it's that also. So not only are you buying it for industry, you're buying it because the dollar's heavily inflated and worthless, and you need to get out of it or watch it go to zero, and then you get the silver and you watch it go to 1,000. So it's a very easy thing. So it's being bought for money and it's being bought for industrial, and there's not enough of it because they made it so cheap for so long. Nobody did silver mines because they said, well, there's not profitable. I can't do it. It's costing me $50 an ounce and I can only get $20 an ounce. So I'm not going to, they got out of the silver mines, and there's copper mines and there's like zinc and gold mines. And that's where the silver comes from, but there's no silver mines. So maybe this will kick back the silver mine, but it'll take 10 years to get up. And you don't have to worry about, believe me, there's much more demand than supply they could find in the ground. But again, you can't print it. You can't inflate it. You can't do anything. It comes out, whatever comes out of the ground's all there is, and it's all gone. So we're going to be seeing some big silver jumps, and, we might get $100 tomorrow if they got to close the year and get their profits, and it's $100 in China. We might see $100. 77. I'm sure we'll be back in the 80s tomorrow. And gold should get gold. We got to get back to 4,500. I'm not worried about it. Once it hits it, I don't know what the bullshit is with comex and the gold. It's the same thing. The demand for gold's far better than the paper. Again, comex is all paper, so it's bullshit. And that's it. So just buy physical and hold it, and do not profit take it. Do not get back. Put it this way: do not get back into dollar paper. All right. So no matter how much you make on gold and silver, you do not want this. So your move is to not get back into this shit, which means your move is to go from gold and silver to just hold it and watch the price go up. And if you need something, maybe a car, maybe a house, a bill, or something like that, then that's what you sell it for. You have to have a reason to sell it. You don't profit take. That is not a reason. I will not allow that. That's a bad move. So you're not profit taking this. You're just going to take the money and watch it go higher and higher. It's not going to come down because it's physical and it's very limited. And why would it come down? It's only going to keep going up. So when you see this little bullshit like it's happening in gold, 43.63, you just laugh. You go, fine, I'll just wait for it to go up because it's physical. The supply is very limited and the demand's huge. Right now it's silver because it's cheap. But when silver hits 1,000, it'll bump back to gold. You'll buy the quarter, half ounces or the ounces. And then when gold hits 10,000, people will still jump into silver because it's cheaper. And as he said, these companies need the silver. So silver can be 1,000 an ounce. They'll still have to buy it because they need, otherwise they shut their factory down, and it's millions of dollars, not 1,000. And that's not going away. And as they use up the silver, it's gone. You can't reuse it. Anyway, so that's it. Have a wonderful day. Tomorrow is New Year's Eve. I will be on. I don't know if I'm going to play poker or not. I might go down to MGM, play some poker just to get out. Before, I was just buying silver with it. So the 300 I would play at poker, I would buy 10 ounces of silver. Now I'm going to buy like 4 ounces of silver. It's hysterical. But that's what shows you where the money's losing value. I could buy 10. Now I can only buy 3 or 4. And pretty soon it'll be 1 ounce for 300. But that's why we're way ahead of the game. We bought our ounces. We bought and bought and bought. That's the difference. So that's what we're trying to do is buy and buy and buy. And then let the elevator go up. So that's what we were doing. We were buying. It was 2,000 an ounce. It was 25 an ounce silver. And we kept buying and buying and buying, knowing that this was going to go up. We weren't skeptical into not believing it was going to go up. We knew it was going to go up. So it's as much as you can carry. We're buying as much gold and silver. And now we're starting to see the elevator move, and we're full with it. So that's really the key to it. So anyway, Happy New Year. Enjoy. Football, your free play is Miami against Ohio State under. and your free play in the pros, I'm going to go with the Bears plus 3.5. I'm sure Caleb will play. Johnson wants the game. Detroit, I mean, they're terrible. I mean, how they've gone from this good to this bad so quickly is because Ben Johnson leaves. It exposes, see, like physical is exposing the paper market's bullshit. Ben Johnson's exposing that Dan Campbell is not a good coach. He's terrible. And then they're exposing the GM not doing very good. Oh, I drafted a running back, a wide receiver, and a guard and a defensive tackle in the first round, the first 10 picks. Aren't I a genius? But he didn't draft anybody in the second, third, fourth, or fifth rounds who could help. He doesn't add free agents. There's no Brock Purdy. He passed up on all the Georgia defensive players for the wide receiver. Now he needs defense. He can't get any. He already missed that boat. So it's showing you the deficiencies of the Lions GM. He comes here with no talent, so he signs anybody. Yeah, that's going to help the team. But the coach doesn't know what he's doing. He cost them the Super Bowl by going for it on fourth down twice. And then the next year they win a lot of easy games, go 15-2 and lose in the first round to Penix or to Daniels. Keep getting those two confused. And this year he doesn't even show up at all. They're going to go 8-9. And he's lost. He doesn't know. He couldn't. He loses his coordinators, and he brings in two new ones who stink. The offensive coordinator replaced after 3 or 4 games, and the defensive coordinator is giving up 30-some points a game. Okay, there's a lot of injuries. Why is that? Why are they the most injured team? So there's problems there. So you got to look at the real results. Not we're 15-2 and we had the weak schedule. Or the first year they were like 0-8 or 1-8, and then they had the weak schedule and they won 6 or 7 in a row. And everybody tries to, well, let's not look at the whole year. Let's just look at the last 6 when they played New Orleans and Atlanta, who sucked. And then the following year was the weak schedule, and now they played a tough schedule and they don't show up. And it shows you how good the team really is. They're not very good. And now the Bears are better than him. The Packers, all these guys, we can't get guys, and then the Packers get Micah Parsons. Okay. Yeah, we're supposed to believe it. So, yeah, the Lions, they're done. They're toast. I don't see them ever, because Goff's not a good quarterback, so I don't see where Goff's really going to help you at all, ever. Sean McVay would not have let Goff go if he was any good, but he's not. He's just a play-action guy. So he's not good. And we're stuck with him for 4 or 5 years at $50 million a year. We can't get extra defensive players. We can't get anything else. Soon, St. Thomas and the running back are going to get hurt. Then what are you going to do? So it's a very he's spending money in the wrong areas. Wide receivers are a dime a dozen. You don't St. Thomas is good, but you don't need them versus getting somebody else. Look at Arizona. They screwed up. They took Marvin Harrison. He stinks. But then look at Pukanuka was a low draft pick, and he's a superstar. So that's what you need to find is the Pukanukas. And so the Lions are in big trouble. Forget winning the division. If Minnesota could find a quarterback and stop drafting these idiots, getting Kirk Cousins and getting they win with Darnold, but they let him go. And then for J.J. McCarthy, now they got to draft another quarterback next year because he stinks. But their defense is great. So they're a great under team. But again, if they could draft a quarterback with Green Bay and Chicago, Detroit, bye-bye Detroit. Yeah, Detroit was one and done, basically. They had a good year last year. They didn't win a playoff game at home. This year, they didn't even make the playoffs. Next year, God knows what will happen. And you're finding out golf stinks. And then you're finding out, wait a minute, Ben Johnson ran the show and we can't replace him. And Dan Campbell's showing he can't do it. And we keep getting all the defensive guys injured. So now we're in big trouble. Now we have no defense. You can't win without a defense. So basically, Detroit's basically fucked. But that's where they've been the last 60 years. But it shows. There's a lot of, like, Atlanta, they need a coach. Arizona, they need a go. Their coach sucks. New Orleans, I don't know. Kellen Moore, they're looking pretty good. Miami needs a coach. Cincinnati needs a coach. You got Burrow and Chase. You should win every game. I mean, they shouldn't be able to guard you. And anyway, that's about it. So we got 2 games Saturday, and then the full slate Sunday. No Monday night game this week, and then the bowl games. So we've got Coastal Carolina, L Tech, Tennessee, Illinois, and USC TCU today. And tomorrow there's, I think, Miami, Ohio State is tomorrow night. Iowa, Vandy with Daggio playing. Arizona State, Duke, Michigan, Texas with the coach trying to kill people. And Nebraska, Utah, where Utah's coach is gone. He's at Michigan, but he's not going to coach Michigan. And then Miami and Ohio State, the free play, go under in that game. And that's about it. Buy your gold, buy your silver, hold it, don't sell it, and watch COMEX crash. I mean, they're going to have to raise they can't short it because everybody's buying. It's worth $25 more than what they're selling for. Here it's $77.52. It's $100. You can't, how can you short it? So it should just keep running. And the same thing, gold, 43.64. Well, let's get that higher. I think that's it. So happy New Year. Enjoy. Be safe. Don't be careful drinking and driving. I mean, just go drink, but drink in a place where you have a driver, or take an Uber, or drink at home, or something like that, or have somebody drive you back from the bar, or if you're watching the football game or something. Like I said, I'll probably be, I don't know. Genesis, what are you doing? As well, if I'm in the mood, I'll go play poker. Says, what does that mean? I go, well, if I feel lucky, like I do with football, right? I feel the game, so I feel if it's going to win or not, right? And if I get strong feelings, I do it. So if I get strong feelings, I'll go play poker tomorrow. If I don't, I won't. I'll stay around. The pool closes tomorrow, and the first at 1:30. So tomorrow our class will be after 1:30, because I'm not going to do class. If I get up early enough, I'll just go to the pool early and then do class. But I don't see, I'm not going to do class because then I got to go to the pool. So I'll do class. Maybe I'll go 10 or 11 and then do class at 1 o'clock or something like that the next 2 days. And that's about it. So we're keeping our eye. So what he said, look for silver and gold to really jump tomorrow, because that's how they get their bonuses, right? So we will see. Prophet, the Vandy game is on at noon tomorrow. Okay. Yeah, you'll see Daggio, and then you'll understand Daggio, and then you'll watch Indiana, and you'll understand Daggio is better. But this should be good. At least the playoff teams, you don't have to worry, are they going to play? I mean, that's the problem I got. Even Tennessee, Illinois today, I know Joey Aguilar's playing. I assume Altmaier's playing. But you got 7 or 8 guys that are sitting out, which I don't know why. See, they're not trying to show anything to the pros, but they should be. All it shows is these guys don't care. Well, they risk injury. It's football. This is, it's amazing. This is football. You risk injury all the time. So if you're not injured, what's going to happen? Even if you hurt your knee, you're out for a year. You're still going to get drafted. It's not going to hurt you, and the odds are not good that you're going to get a serious injury. Once in a while that happens, but most of the injuries are not long term. Can't wait to see this guy play. You've never seen, well, turn it on. Go watch the Vanderbilt Tennessee game on YouTube, and then you'll see it. But if Oakland's smart, they'll get him. He's the best, but they'll probably go after whatchamacallit, Mendoza, because they're undefeated. Like, yeah, he's got nothing to do with it. All right. It's his interceptions that led to Penn State getting the lead in that game. All right. So good luck, everybody. I might run to my gold store now to see what's going on, see if everything's the same. He usually has silver inventory. He's been struggling with gold inventory. But I bought all the gold up that I could buy way back at $1,900 an ounce. So anyway, so that's it. Be smart. Low supply, high demand means higher prices. And there's no reason the price will come down. There's no reason demand's going to go down. The dollar's worthless. There's no way they can stop the dollar from going out. Not digital doesn't do it. The only thing is if you came out with gold-backed currency, which would then force the gold price higher, or silver. Do not get caught into anything to do with Bitcoin or anything to do with stablecoin. They're not real. Anything that you can't see and touch, how do you think it's real? I mean, it isn't. You got to be crazy. So understand that. Just stay in gold and silver. Just buy the shit out of it and hold it, and just enjoy watching it go up and up and up and up and up to the moon based on demand. And the demand will never go away because they can't substitute silver and, we're going to use nickel now or copper. Well, obviously they can, or they would. They've tried it and they said, well, silver's the only thing. And so therefore, like the guy said, it doesn't matter if it's 1,000 an ounce, they're still going to buy it because otherwise they shut down the factory and they can't do that. So watch it go to the moon and enjoy. Get on the rocket and enjoy. Buckle up. All right. Have a great day. Happy New Year. I will see you tomorrow, but I'll see you after swim because they close early. All right. www.teaserking.com. You want to buy the locks this week. $200 for the rest of the year through the Super Bowl for all these picks. And I already have 2 locks this coming up, but more to come as I start analyzing, seeing the injuries, reading who's playing and not. Again, I'm learning I'm watching and learning, and that's one reason I'm successful with both gold and picking. Is I'm learning what do they need and who do they need and things, coaches and stuff like that. All right. Take care, everybody. Have a real good day. Have a real good New Year's. All right. Enjoy.